What is going on, ladies and gents? How are we doing today? Welcome to the Casually FC show. Casually Chelsea show, sorry. Casually FC is a channel. Big up to every single one of you. It's probably going to be a solo show today. I'll be so real with you. News has been pretty dead. And honestly, it's been a really shit weekend for you people as a Chelsea whole fan base, so understandably so, people probably don't want to talk or hear about Chelsea right now due to the result over the weekend, which we'll kind of do a little bit of an aftermath today in the show. But who knows, today might be a pretty quick show, to be honest, since it's just me and it's only my thoughts, and obviously we'll talk to chat, we'll keep up with you guys in chat. But big up to every single one of you every single time. Up to Chelsea, keep the blue flag flying high, everything that is Chelsea in a positive manner, I guess. But yeah, you guys already know the routine. Subscribe, like, and hype. There you go. Subscribe, like, and hype. Or like, hype, subscribe. Which one do you guys like better? Let me know in the comments section below after the video, and do all those things because it helps out with the YouTube algorithm, helps get the channel out there, helps get some movement going, helps spice things up in the channel and the show and on YouTube. So go ahead and big up to yourselves, and yeah, do all that fun stuff. And also be sure to check out the memberships. There's four different tiers starting at 99p, and if you're at the proper casual tier and higher, you get shout outs to the end of every show and so on and so forth. So big up to every single one of you, and yeah, let's get on with the show at my own pace and not yours, Rainbow the God. So let's go ahead and start off the show with and again, guys, boring news cycle, not really much going on, so this is just news for the sake of news and just going over it for the sake of going over it. I will have my opinions, obviously, but let's start off with the first one, which is new recruiters and scouts. So Chelsea and Blueco have been a bit busy. We'll say that they've been a bit busy finding some new employees to hire into the recruitment team. So let's go over the first tweet I have here of 3 in regards to a goalkeeping scout. So Chelsea have hired a new national goalkeeper scout, Guiu'S, who was mostly with Scottish Championship club Greenock Morton in a player coach role. He will be focusing on scouting players from between the U12 and the U21's age groups. That's according to Kieran Gill. We'll continue on. Chelsea invited key recruitment staff from League One. I almost said League One. Wow. League One side Wigan Athletic to visit their common training ground last week to see how the Blues operate behind the scenes. And lastly here, ex-Liverpool recruitment specialist Dave Follows will report to co-sporting directors Paul Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart via Kieran Gill. So a few things to read into there, right? So, firstly, with this goalkeeping coach, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you, don't really care. Don't really care too much, but if I had to put a careful thought into this, it's that, who knows, maybe, hopefully, this guy moves up the ranks and gets rid of a certain Ben Roberts, right? I think Ben Roberts is the one that is keeping us with Robert Sanchez, and he's the one that's responsible for Robert Sanchez. So it could be potentially as a promotional spot, which does happen in our line of business. Look at Todd Klein, for example. Started off in one position and then slowly over the course of time got promoted to the position where Jacobus, the other guy that got fired, right? Jurassic, where Jurassic's current position is right now. So could be something that down the line he gets hired into Ben Roberts' position. Who knows? And quite frankly, don't really know much about the scout or what talent he's scouted to even have a real opinion on this. The Wigan thing, potentially another one too, where we could be trying to work with scouts from Wigan and so on and so forth. Not really much to read into this. This is probably the biggest one of all the tweets, which is, if true, I don't really know how to feel about it. I feel like part of me feels it's just repetition of the same thing, like nothing is going to change. But the other part of me also feels that, again, going back to that goalkeeper, right? And I'm less inclined to think this, but going back to that goalkeeping scout, it could be one of those situations where if Paul Winstanley and Lewis Stewart were to have to step down because he did a bad job or whatever, or get sacked, this guy can get promoted and put into position. If the idea is that he's going to report to Winstanley and Stewart, and even if he does, maybe his talent ID and his pull and his his vision maybe guides Winstanley and Lawrence Stewart, or maybe guides the directors or our recruitment into a better place. But that's going to be something that, if this even happens, because I'm not even sure it's been confirmed that we hired him or he accepted the position at Chelsea, something that we're going to have to just keep an eye on. Scott, what's going on, man? Welcome to the show. I don't know if you have any thoughts on just some of these new recruiting hires and things that's been spoken about as a recent. If not, we can just go on to the next topic.
Don't really care about most of them. Like the goalkeeper thing, I don't really give a shit about. Like personally, just because I think it said he was like under 12s, under 21s. Just don't care about that stuff. The Wigan thing, I missed that bit. Plus, I don't even know if I care. The Fallows thing is going to be interesting because if that's true, literally changes nothing. Like, literally changes nothing about like all of. I'm watching the Strasbourg game, by the way. If I suddenly pause, it's because there's only a couple minutes left. But yeah, like it'll be interesting how that works out. Probably poorly, just because like my hope is that he finds better players than some of the guys we've been signing. But even if he does, the likelihood that some of them are then signed, because I assume it will still come down to Winstanley and Stewart as the final decision.
That's a good point.
And you've got Winstanley advocating for guys like Garnacho who stink. Doesn't tell me that like
their negotiating skills are shit.
Yeah. Plus other guy it's more of who they went for Garnacho over like someone like Simmons. Now I'm not saying Simmons would have been amazing. He's been quite bad since he's signed for Tottenham. But Garnacho's a worse player. I think there were other wingers we were potentially linked with. And yeah, so I just think it's going to be interesting. See how that works out. But he is the one. When it comes to the sporting directors and the scouting group, Fallows is the one hope we have as a club. Like, if it doesn't work with him or if he doesn't change anything, we're fucked until these sporting directors get sacked.
I feel like if nothing changes, I think we're fucked until the ownership goes. Because at that point, I feel like they're just following instruction,
Not necessarily, because I had this debate on Chelsea Fan TV earlier. My thing with the sporting directors is they're following the owners in terms of the youth model, 100%. If you don't like, oh my fucking God, what a goal. Strasbourg just lost. What a goal, sorry.
Oh no. God damn it.
Oh, what a goal,
I forgot that game was going on.
Oh my God, sorry. That threw me off so much. Oh my God.
Yeah, I forgot Strasbourg was on right now. They're playing. Who are they playing right now?
Oh yeah, had this debate earlier. I think the youth model comes from the owners, and if you don't like the youth model, that is put that on owners.
Jesus. Yeah.
Put that on owners. But my thing is like I think I don't like the model in its entirety, because I do think you need a bit of experience in the team. Obviously, Tosun and Chalobah are doing their best to disprove that at the moment. But my issue with the signings isn't the model as such; it's the quality. Like you see with Estevao. Who the fuck was that he beat? Sorry. Oh dear. My thing with like Estevao, he's 18, but quality insane. You're welcome, by the way. I'm sorry, I cannot keep that in.
I didn't realize any of you guys in chat were even watching the game. I forgot there was.
What's it called? Quenda looks like a talent, and some of the guys I'm going to name, by the way, they like Winstanley and Stewart weren't necessarily completely involved, but you'll understand my point. like Palmer, Lavia. I think Delap can get there. Who else? Santos. You know, guys like that. I think some of the signings they've made
Those
have
are
been
like
good.
the
But
hits. Yeah.
it's the quality. That's what we're missing. The reason why Guiu'S and Garnacho are failing is not because they're 20 and 21. It's because they stink. It's because the quality isn't there. You know, the reason why, you know, Disasi sucked was because he was sucked. The reason why Badiashile hasn't been good, partly his injuries, but also because he wasn't good. Like, that's where I think it comes down to. Like, if we, because I saw someone tweet out, I think it might have been Vince, about PSG, and I think their average age of the squad is like 23.2 years or something like that. And while they do have your Dembele's and your what's it called, Marquinhos and things like that, Donnarumma last season. They also they bought Barcola, they bought Doué, they bought Kvaratskhelia when he was 23, they bought Pacho when he was like 21, 22, they bought Neves at 21. They're buying young guys of quality. Like
Campos,
they're buying young guys, yes, but they're buying young guys of quality. We're buying young guys who are middling or who need a few years and the right development to get to that level. When we're either not providing the right development in terms of platform or timescale. Because, like, as an example, funnily enough, watching Strasbourg, Diego Moreira, with the right platform, the right manager, and the right what's it called? With enough like leeway, which he's not going to get that at Chelsea. I understand that because that's pressure. He's developed into a really nice player. Like, he's played well tonight before he got taken off. So he played well tonight. He was never going to get that at Chelsea. He looked like he couldn't be league. He looked bad against a League 2 level team when we played Wimbledon. I think it was. I think they were League 2. So like, that's where, for me, that's where the problem lies, and that's why I blame the sporting directors, because you can have this youth model and there will be problems. You see with Strasbourg tonight. But if you buy the quality, you can make up for that to an extent.
Yeah. And to your point, I feel like to what you were saying about the recruitment, I agree. I feel like the hit or miss ratio is more like 40% are hits, 60 are duds with the recruitment, because for every Santos and Estevao and so on that you name, you can name, like you said, Guiu'S and Garnacho, which in our opinion and as of right now don't look like the greatest of signings. And it's not just down to the player quality in terms of young signings, it's also down to the price we're paying for them, right? In Guiu'S' example, I don't think any one of us look at Guiu'S right now without looking at the price tag and think this is a 60 million pound player. No, we think it's a young player who's raw, who has potential, but needs to develop. And at this price, at his time, he's not really worth that price. And obviously, players don't get to pick their price tags, but it is something that, unfortunately, in the social media age that we live in, it's gonna, loom over their heads, and it's always gonna put extra pressure on the player. That's the negotiating aspect of the directors too, that I'm sure Dave Follows won't be able to do anything about. However, the other point that you mentioned was, looking at the loans and how we develop these players. And if there's anything to be said about what was mentioned in previous tweets in regards to this recruitment, is that he's going to have a say in where players go and how they develop and so on and so forth. So in the sense of, like, he has to report to Win Stanley and Lawrence Stewart, it could be somewhat of a role where it's like, okay, you guys keep fucking this up because you have your hands in too many things. Focus on these, and I'm gonna at least try to fix up your mistakes. Like, I'm gonna make sure Guiu'S stays at Sunderland or at Chelsea, versus going on loan to Sunderland where they're getting 2 more strikers and he was going to waste his time there, or at least find a better loan for him. Stuff like that. Moreira, who, I mean, right now he's doing well, but maybe having a say of, like, what if we put him out on a loan where he's going to be playing as a right back or a left back or a full back in general. Stuff like that maybe it could diminish the amount of errors and just thoughtless planning that seems to be going on at the club that me, you, and a bunch of others on the panel and on Twitter have complained about constantly since the directors pretty much took over. But yeah, I think having him in the team would be a boost. But will it be enough to make an overall difference or even an overall impact on the pitch and with the recruitment? Time will tell. We're going to have to see. But any final thoughts on that, Scott, before we go on and
no, not really.
off on the next one here? What'd you think of the game, by the way?
What, the Strasbourg game? Oh boy.
Fun team to watch.
Is there a fun team to watch? For good and bad reasons based on this game. Obviously, this is like the first full game of theirs. Like, I've seen a couple of highlights of games. This is the first full game of theirs I watched this season. They are a fun team, but for good and bad reasons. So very nice. That Guiu'S kid at right back is really nice, by the way. Just like he looks good. I can see why AC Milan were interested in him in the summer. He looks very good, especially like as a two-way fullback, like defensively and going forward, very good. Moreira looks like a good player as well, playing at wing back. And Caicedo, he's meant to be coming to Chelsea next season. Penders looked decent. Didn't really have much to do. Like, had a good penalty save. But outside of that, didn't really have didn't have too much to do outside of that. To be honest, Sarr was okay. Good recovery pace, I will say, for a defender. Not much else from this game that I looked at outside of that and thought, yeah, like that was really good. Like that's something I can see as like you building on or whatever. But yeah, some nice performances, but I think this game is a perfect example of why you don't build a full youth team, because you've got people losing their heads from stupid challenges. They got a red card in this game. You've got like, yeah, I think with a couple of experienced players in this team, you have a better chance of being able to see a game out. Yeah, like they're a fun team, and I think Rossini's a good manager. But you can see some issues in the team, which I think is more the youth of the team rather than anything else. And yeah, I'm looking at the players. Like Pires didn't even come off the bench today. Oh, did he? Oh, it must have been like the last few minutes.
Yeah. The only reason I know is I was checking to see. Did you see Ben Chilwell today? And I don't think
he was not on the bench. He was not in the squad. I think they said he was. Again. Yeah, I think he said he had a knock or something. Okay. Yeah, like Pires came off the bench during like had no time to do anything. Like I said, Penders was good. Didn't really have much to do, so it was hard to judge him. Like I said, he had a good penalty save. Outside that, didn't really have much to do. And what's his face? Sarr was decent, not great. I agree with this with JC. I think that's my overriding point with Strasbourg. I'm looking at the guys we're meant to have in our team from Strasbourg next season. In Enciso, Paez. Well, I say Enciso, I don't actually know if he stays, but Enciso, Paez, Sarr, and Penders. Like, I don't see none of them improve our team currently. Like, Penders might do.
Paez. I would give Paez a shout.
Paez probably does, because he's probably better than Buonanotte.
If you saw the match today and he was actually available to play, you probably would have had a different opinion.
No, my thing with Pires is if we're bringing him in, number one, I need to know where he's going to play, because if he's going to play as a left winger, then he'll probably improve the depth of the team, because as a left winger he'll be better depth than the two bozos we have at the moment. As a number 10, he'll be better depth than Buonanotte. But in terms of affecting the team on a week-to-week basis, I don't know with him yet. Also because, like I said, this is the first full game I've seen of Strasbourg. I haven't properly seen him in the Strasbourg team yet, so I want to see that. The other guys, though, like I said, and Enciso just looks like he's kind of like Gittins. He's a dribbly boy, but terrible decision making, like dreadful decision making, especially in the game I watched today. And then I've already gone through the others. So yeah, like none of these guys look like they are raising any sort of level, floor, anything. They look like they're going to be good squad depth, which we don't need right now.
Yeah. And I had you bring it up because my next topic was actually about Strasbourg. And it's a bit of the Strasbourg Pipeline, we'll start calling this, because it's essentially what it is, right? Like a lot of these players are going to be in consideration to be at Chelsea, and we've essentially made them like a pipeline team. They're a sister club, and we're going to pick them apart when they have good players. So Strasbourg have some outstanding players, and someone like Panicelli has plucked He was plucked up from the Spanish second division, but looks top quality. Sources point out to me that this is the advantage of being able to blood these players in France ahead of potential moves to England, according to Graham Bailey. Also, on that topic from Graham Bailey, Chelsea are liking what they are seeing from fullback Guiu'S, who featured against his brother Desiree on Friday when they played PSG.
He was good.
And then to kind of nip the rumors in the bud, we have this source here's Strip had saying that apparently Chelsea have no plans to sign Dusan Vlahovic or bring back Diego Moreira. Strasbourg have no plans to sell Joaquin Panicelli, but are aware of multiple clubs sending scouts to watch him. Now, it's just stuff, rumors, take it with a pinch of salt. Go ahead. I think you're going to mention Panicelli.
Yeah, the Panicelli stuff to me is weird. Not because he's not a good player. Like, he's been very good. He scored a goal. Scored again today. We'll say after he scored, basically did nothing else for the rest of the game. I had a couple of decent touches. Link-up play was decent. Didn't really do anything dangerous after he scored. My thing with the Panicelli thing is, and I've said this like before on other streams, is I get people are liking what they're seeing, and he has the goal scoring, fantastic. The noise around Panicelli is nuts to me, considering we saw
he's Argentinian.
Yeah, he's Argentinian. It's nuts to me, the thing with Panicelli, because we saw the same thing in terms of the goal scoring rate from Omega for the latter half of last season. And like everyone was like, oh, we should have got Omega. We should have got Omega. Look how well he's doing. Now Panicelli's the next thing. It's like Chelsea fans are never happy. They just want the shiny new toy again. And it's like,
yeah, that's true.
I get he's scoring and doing really well. And like, big up to him. Let him play at Strasbourg for a couple of years. Because, like, number one is he actually gets comfortable playing in that team and comfortable playing in that league. And also comfortable playing in the Champions League. And you can see if he can perform at the Champions League. And this isn't just a one-season thing, by the way, as well.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, number two is you can't keep just buying the next striker like this. Like, at some point, you have to just, like... At some point, number one, at some point, what you buy has to stick, right?
Sure.
So, we've got Delap. Delap can't... I kind of want Delap to stick in a sense, because otherwise, the fuck was the point buying him? Then we're buying Omega. So are we just going to keep doing this thing again of just buying a million players until one sticks?
We'll never get an established 11.
Yeah, just buying a million players until one sticks, because you can't seem to buy properly.
Some of these players, they just need time. It's just the honest truth about it too. Like, as much as we don't want to wait and we want things to just work out as soon as they come into the club, sometimes these players just need time to work. And there's an example. Okay, this is a good example. Gravenberch. First season, didn't impress at all. First season, people were saying he's a flop. Under Jurgen Klopp, didn't work out. Second season, in discussions for best midfielder in the world. It's just sometimes it takes time with players. And going off of what Scott was saying, right? Listen, the stats, guys, I don't blame anyone who wants this player. Ligue 1, 8 games, 7 goals scored. Conference League, 1 game, 1 goal scored. He's got 8 goals all season.
It's 8 and 9 now in Ligue 1.
There you go. It's 8 and 9 games. That's a very impressive goal scoring record. It's better than what Omega was putting up when he was starting off last season. Now, obviously, the whole season is going to be a better depiction of where this player is and all that. But you got to build a team too. Like, at the same time, you can't just be swapping and changes, because when you saw yesterday, for example, bless you, when you saw yesterday, for example, against Sunderland, all the changes that were made, you see how the lack of chemistry can also affect the team. You see how the team performs better when we have that starting 11 from the Club World Cup versus a chopped and change one with a bunch of other players. Some players are more familiar with the system and familiar with playing with each other after a season of playing with one another, versus players that, okay, I had this striker, I got a season under him, okay, now there's another striker. At some point, you have to stick with what you got give it some time. If you see signs of, okay, there could be something here, you build off of that. If you see something like in Garnacho's case, for example, I don't really have much to work with here. I don't think this is going to be good enough. That's where you go from there. But I think, listen, I think time will tell at the end of the season where we stand with some of these Strasbourg players. If Panicelli keeps up at this rate, I don't think we can have a discussion where, or I don't think there's going to be a debate whether or not he's going to be good enough for Chelsea. Anyone who putting up some incredible numbers like that in another league could come in this team and make a big difference. But I don't even think we're going to touch Panicelli. Go ahead.
The one thing I'd say about Panicelli, and this is going to be interesting to see when Omega's back from a Chelsea perspective now, because like respectfully, don't give a shit about Strasbourg in terms of like looking at the future. So obviously, it's I'm glad they're doing well. I want them to do well because they're our sister club. But I'm looking at how can we help Chelsea as well. It's going to be interesting what happens from a Chelsea perspective when Omega comes back from injury. Because they played a couple of games together before he got injured, but there was also a couple of games where Omega was on the bench. What's going to happen when he comes back? Is it going to be both of them together? Is it going to be Omega on the bench? Because the best case scenario for Chelsea is Omega plays every game. Which, if Panicelli is scoring the way he's scoring, Omega won't play every game. Which, that's a bad thing for Chelsea Football Club.
Yes.
Because if he's going to be our backup striker, potential starting striker next season, whatever, he needs to be starting games on a regular basis for Strasbourg. And so, yeah, I look at it and go, in terms of just with everyone now at the moment with the Strasbourg thing, I go with the players without any other additions, because we don't know what this club's going to do in the summer next season. I don't think anyone can predict outside of we're probably going to buy a similar level of player, but we don't know who. I look at what Strasbourg are doing, the players Strasbourg have that are coming into our team next season. They are not enough to take us to a title. We're not challenging for a title next season with who we've got coming back currently.
Yeah. No.
As things stand, obviously. Things could change across the season, but I'm saying
things could change. I don't want to believe that, but yeah, I haven't. We need to get deeper into the season for me to think about what might happen next season. Like, I want to see what happens when Isugo comes back, Palmer comes back, all these other players that are missing that are going to add to rotation and resting other players. By the way, just to address this real quick, I don't know if this is true or not. I saw the tweet for it. It kind of seems like a little bit of PR to make an excuse for why they weren't ready for Sunderland, because the timing of it, or at least the timing in which I saw it, looked that way. So I'm taking this a little bit with a pinch of salt, to be quite fair with you.
I'm gonna say I'm the same. One thing I will say is I hope it's not I hope it's not what you said, like being used as like excuse for Sunderland, because like if it is, I'm real fucking tired of the excuses when it comes to this team, and it's fans do it, the manager's doing it, players sometimes do it. I'm just like, you can sometimes just be bad, right? You can sometimes have a bad game and it just be because you were bad. It doesn't have to be everyday excuses. I don't know if we're going to end up like we talked about a little bit yesterday. I think
we're talking a little bit,
and I don't know if we'll talk about the injury stuff, but like the injury bollocks, this thing, like, stop with that nonsense, please. Like, I don't like I said, that's if it is being used in that sense. If it's not, ignore everything I'm saying. But I'm just getting a bit tired of excuses for why we lose games. We just lost yesterday because we were bad. That's it.
I also think not only were we bad, but I also think Sunderland were good. I mean,
they were good. Yeah, they were very good.
Yeah, they were good. So to be fair, like, they gave us a run for our money. Like, I don't know if they're going to keep it up this whole season, because right now they're sitting in second. I don't think they will, but they are going to put up a good fight, and I don't think they're going to get relegated this season.
The way they're going, they could get Europe this season. Like, what level of Europe? I don't know. Like, Conference League or Europa League, probably, but like, I don't know. Probably Conference League. But them and Bournemouth this season, I say them and Bournemouth this season could end up Conference League or Europa League, which if either of those clubs do, considering the situation for both of them, in terms of Bournemouth are playing, in their back five, if you include their goalkeeper, they have 4 new signings, and the 5th guy was their backup centre back for most of last season, for most or half of last season. That's incredible. Also, with now a new striker who seems to be doing very well. That's nuts if they get that. And then Sunderland, a newly promoted team, signing a bunch of new players. I think 5 or 6 of which started yesterday. Yeah, the goalkeeper, 2 centre backs. Goalkeeper, 2 centre backs, right wing back, 2 midfielders. Yeah, 6 players, I think.
Sure.
Yeah. 7 new players, excuse me, and right winger as well. That's impressive. Like, that's mad impressive from both of those teams.
Let's actually move on to, it's not really news, but kind of wanted, I had a thought the other day when I was reading this stuff, and I kind of want to bring it as a point of discussion for us here on the show. So let's talk a little bit about Estevao. Two things I wanted to bring up. So first one is Enzo Maresca's comments. So Maresca said that I had Cole Palmer at Manchester City when he was Estevao's age. Cole started out wide when he built some physicality. Estevao is playing... then he built some physicality. Estevao is playing wide now, but in the future, I think he's more of an inside player. I don't disagree. I think he's versatile enough that he can play either or, but I do feel that the winger position, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think I am, but the winger position is a position that most times you're going to want to have young players there, pacey players that have dribbling ability and creativity and are really agile and can do that role for years on out. It's very rare you see a 28-year-old, a 29-year-old, 30-year-old playing at the wing. So I do think some of these great wingers we've seen over the course of time have slowly adapted their game towards playing more in the middle, more in the central position, than relying on their pace. There's a few exceptions out there, like you look at the Willians of the world, you look at Neymar to an extent as well. Messi eventually went from right wing at Barcelona to more of a center mid. He's Messi, though. Obviously, that's much more an exception to the rule. But I feel like this is fine for me. The player is good to the point where, like, even if... And I don't think Estevao will lose his pace very much at all going forward. I think if we take care of him and we nurture him well, like, he'll be healthy enough and not bulk up too much, still have some danger about him on the wing and stuff. I think he'll still be an agile player that can do that winger position. But I don't mind it if he does bulk up, gets, grows into his body more and builds up some physicality. I don't mind if he plays in the midfield. I think he'd be a fantastic cam. Like, we saw him play that position in oh my God, what was the name of it? Palmeiras. So yeah, I'm all for this. I don't think this is too far-fetched. Scott, I mean, I'm sure you agree, but what are your thoughts on him potentially in the future playing in that center attacking midfield role?
I mean, I don't disagree in a sense of, like, I could see him playing inside. Like, I mean, I said that in the summer of, like, it got to a point where I was like, I'd have him as the Palmer backup and you go and get, like, Guiu'S for the right wing or whatever it was at the time, and like that sort of stuff. The only thing I don't like about this, and this is more speculation from my part, and it's like more like imagining something that could happen more than anything, is I wouldn't mind him playing as the 10, I don't want it then to get to a situation where it's potentially him versus Palmer. Like, in terms of who starts, like, they should both be starting basically every game from now until one of them leaves. Just because, well, I think Estevao is that good and has shown to be that good, and Palmer's obviously Palmer. And so if he ends up becoming the 10 or becoming a 10, then you potentially have that issue. But like I said, we don't even know if that's going to be the case. That's the only potential thing I could, like, see or be like annoyed about or whatever.
Mm-hmm. The thing for me is that I think this naturally just happens to good players. When if players are so talented and they're so good and they can just create anything out of nothing, those are the players that you want to be in that 10 position. You want them to create. You want them to have the ball the most. You want them to just spearhead your attack. And Estevao is one of those talented players that, man, even if he starts at right wing, he's just so good. I want him on the ball all the time. I'd put him in that middle position. That's kind of why Cole Palmer found himself in that position. He was the X factor in the team. So I think from a tactical perspective, Maresca's thinking it that way. Like, I'm going to put my X factor as, the pendulum to keep this attack going, to spearhead this attack. Palmer was that, and I think if Estevao can, and he has been playing some minutes in that central position, if he can adapt to it and get some good, and to be fair, he's been making some really good runs from that number 10 position. I think in Ajax we saw that. I think you can have a position there with Cole Palmer and Estevao where they're constantly interchanging, and it's just dangerous. So I like that. As far as other part of this conversation, and I wanted to give the platform to you guys in the chat. Let me know your thoughts on the following. So Camilo Alves reported this for TV Globo. Estevao spoken about a lot more positively in Brazil than Endrick right now. One of the reasons is he is playing. And it's true. Estevao is getting more minutes than Endrick has since he's joined Real Madrid last season. Almost positive that's accurate. Fact check me, please, and let me know if I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure I'm right about that.
You're like almost certainly right in terms. He probably hasn't played more minutes just because obviously Endrick was there last season, but he is playing. How do I word this? He's the regularity at which he's playing and like getting starting minutes is a lot more than Endrick. I don't really think Endrick started all that many games last season. He's obviously not really playing at all this season. So I think that's what it is. It's more of like he's joined Chelsea and is already getting like serious minutes, whereas Endrick, even though he probably has played more minutes, again, someone fact check please, because I can't bother at the moment. But yeah, like even though like Endrick has probably played more minutes, it's been much spread out because obviously be there for an extra year.
Now, my question, Lucky Sin is touching on it. If given the opportunity, Real Madrid turns around and says, you know what? Xabi does not like Endrick, does not want to play Endrick. Endrick has kind of been rumored to finding a move out of that club, by the way. And I wouldn't be surprised if in January you see him loaned out or transferred. Because I think I even saw an interview where he said he regrets going to Real Madrid just because of the play time. Listen, guys, this is right now a World Cup year. A lot of these players want to find playing time, and a lot of these players are not going to be patient, and they're not going to wait. So if the opportunity arises to snag an Endrick in this team, and I'm not saying if, and, or but. Everything goes according to plan still. Omega comes in. We still have Guiu. We still have all these extra attackers. Are you guys in chat? Scott? Are you guys willing to take a gamble on Endrick and figure out the mess of attackers afterwards? Or we skip on this one?
I would say no, not because he's a bad player. Like, I think he's still a good player. He's just at the wrong team. It's more because where does he play? Like, it just at what point? At what point do you like just be happy with what you've got? Like, for example, right? If we
so many of you are like, nah.
if we weren't going to get Omega right in January, right?
Sure. And
it was going to be Endrick instead for the loan for 6 months. Okay, I can understand that. And obviously, we don't know what the plan is. I'm just going based on what we keep hearing. See, like him, Omega, and Delap in his team make no sense. But if it's going to be him as the backup 9, like, I could hear it. I don't know how he'd fare in this league, but I could hear it. And plus, I think he would be able to adapt because of Estevao being there, because of the other South American core we've got. So I wouldn't have that problems there. I just don't know how physically he would take to the league. And obviously, there's the fact he's got no confidence at the moment. So yeah, it's more just because of, I think he would blow our squad more than anything. I don't think he's a bad player. I wouldn't not get him because I think he's a bad player. I think it's more it would just bloat the squad a bit.
I'll be honest with you guys. These two comments go hand in hand. Get better established players. We need needle movers. If you guys were here before the transfer window, you probably would have said that Ekitike is not a needle mover or an established player. And you can clearly see based off of this season, he's probably a needle mover.
No, do you know what my thing is with Endrick though, right? I think I think he could be a needle mover. I think the people's problem with him or the people's perception of him is because he has gone to Real Madrid. He's not playing.
Yes.
And when he is, sometimes he's playing on the wing, like especially last season when he was coming on, but he's not playing games. When he does, he's getting like no minutes or limited minutes. So people think he's still a good player. He's just in a shit position. He's just in a situation, in a space where it's not good for him. Like, there's still a player in there. Whether he's as good as Estevao, I know there was that debate. Like, it remains to be seen. He's probably not, but that doesn't mean he's not good. See, I would take I would take him if there's a way you can make it work. If we're not going to get a Mega, I would take him if it's on a loan, because we're not going to do anything. Like, we need another striker, basically.
Yeah.
If our choices are him or a Mega, I'd probably take a Mega right now. So it's like I said earlier, if we get to January and a Mega's not playing because Panicelli's playing regularly, then I don't want him either, because he's not going to be coming in and have played minutes. So it's kind of similar.
The way I see it, like if it were my call, I would do it. I would pull the trigger, and I'm sorry to have to be so cold-hearted about this, but I would find a way to flip Guiu at that point.
You can't do that, by the way.
Maybe not in January, but in the summer.
In the summer, that's fine. Yeah, in the summer, I would as well, potentially, or he probably will be moved on. But it's more like you cannot get rid of him in January, because there is not there probably is. Fair play if you manage to find the club, but there's probably not a club in world football that's going to sign a player they can't play for 6 months. That's stupid. That might be the worst use of funds I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah. And I mean, this is actually a good point from Kunle. You could send him to Strasbourg, but I don't know if he'd want to go from Real Madrid to Strasbourg. I mean, to be fair, I think the player wants to play, but I don't
that's
really
also
want
stupid.
that.
On a side note.
Yeah. The thing is, like, it's hard to say because, and I don't blame. His situation is a weird one because he came in when Ancelotti was the manager, and I don't think even he expected Ancelotti to be sacked, or at least part ways when he did, and Xavi Alonso to come in. Xavi Alonso is coming in to get results, and he has the pressure of he needs to get results and not do what Real Madrid did last season, which was completely get dominated by Barcelona. So when you need results, you're going to rely on the players that are experienced. Scott, I think you were.
I had a look, by the way. Yeah, I had a look, by the way. Jesus Christ! If you take just the league, because last season he did play it, like he was there, like he'd played a lot in the Copa del Rey, played a little bit in the Champions League, but not much. If you're just looking at the league, played 22 games last season. Endrick did. He only played 352 minutes. Estevao is 43 minutes away from matching his minutes for Real Madrid.
Oh shit!
Just in the league. That's why I say, like,
but I was close.
That's why I just say, by the way, like the this judging him like now and saying he's a shit player. If you're saying that after 350 minutes, like, you're an idiot, man. 350 minutes in a spot he's not comfortable in when he's like 16. Yeah, like. Cool.
The thing is, like, I've seen Endrick play, and I've like, okay, there's a good player there. but he's just not comfortable yet. And to be fair, the previous Brazilian squad that he was playing in, that I was trying to get some analysis, it was during Copa America when he was making his debut and his cameos. I was like, this is a shit Brazilian team, and I would hate to even think about how he would fit into this Brazilian team, because this is not a good Brazilian team. A better Brazilian team he looks better in. Go ahead, Scott.
Holy shit! By the way, sorry, I'm looking at his minutes. Like, this interests me. In his first 10 games played, by the way, the most minutes he got was 21. This was his first 10 games played. 4. Yeah. These are the amount of minutes he got, by the way. 4, 4, 1, 1, 6, 21, 3, 15, 3.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't start a game until match day 33.
That's like the end of the season. And I think at that point, they didn't have a choice but to start him.
That was his first start in the league. His first start in the Champions League. And never mind. Oh, no, his first start in the Champions League was against Lille. That was his only start in the Champions League, actually. And then, yeah, he played every single game in the Cup. Started every game outside of 2.
Mm-hmm.
So he started 6 games all season out of 20. It was more than that. Out of 37, he started 6.
Yeah.
In all comps. Like, he doesn't play. That's all it is. That's why I say, like, if you don't want him just because you don't think he's gonna, that's right. If you don't want him because there's 2 things. If you don't want him because you want, like Duvan did, like more established players, I can understand that. Or if you don't want him because you don't think he's gonna be match fit because he's basically never played, I understand that. If you don't want him because you think he's bad, and you're basing that off of like 300 minutes of football in the league, that's where I don't understand it, because how are you meant to say he's bad off of 300 minutes?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's hard to gauge. And we know that this club were linked to him when Real Madrid were linked to him, and Real Madrid just swooped in and took the player. So it's not like we weren't interested in him. We weren't scouting him. We just never pulled the trigger. And to an extent, they got blowback for that. When I remember when that happened, there was a little bit of blowback from the fan base of, why didn't we go for this Endrick kid? Why are we going for this Estevao kid instead? Like, this Endrick kid is supposed to be the next Pele or whatever they were saying at the time. Now in hindsight, we got the better deal, but who knows? I mean, it's still such early days to call Endrick's career. I think he's going to do just fine as soon as he can get minutes, which will happen in due time. I'm sure by January there'll be some movement on him, because I'm sure he's going to want to, him and his agent probably want to get a move out or a loan or something, just so he can play minutes to qualify for that World Cup, because he's going to want to go to that World Cup. Okay, let's go from Estevao to another Brazilian we have in our team. And I kind of wanted to bring this up because I feel like there's been a lot of slander on Santos lately, and I don't think it's merited. So let's talk about Santos a bit. So Santos earlier last month came out with this quote and said, "Talent alone isn't enough in Europe. Every little detail makes a difference. I feel like I developed physically compared to my time at Vasco da Gama. I've become stronger and faster. I told myself I had to change. Now I have the physiotherapist, a chef, and a nutritionist, and a whole team around me to help," which is fantastic to see, because you want players. I was thinking about this the other day as well. Like, actually, I'll bring it up later, but just remember Thiago Silva. I think Thiago Silva was and his ability to stay fit, and his fitness, and how absolutely meticulous he was about as much as Cristiano is about training and training right, and then also post-training, how to recover and all that stuff. Thiago Silva was very, very influential on this particular Chelsea team than a lot of people have been, and just for Brazil in general, has been very influential on how to maintain yourself. And I think that's rubbing off on Santos as well. As you can see, like the guy at this age of he's 22, I think, Scott, 21. He's super young.
Santos is 22.
Yeah, I think he's 22. At the age of 22, imagine already looking at hiring a physiotherapist, a chef, and a nutritionist just to like really be on top of your game. most players who are not mature, they don't think about that. They just, buy the next pair of Nikes, clothing, all that stuff, so on and so forth. We kind of saw what Nani did with his money. I'm not judging, not pocket watching either. But anyways, there was a big proposal coming from Saudi Pro League that was worth more than 50 million euros for Endrick Santos, but Chelsea said no to that proposal because Chelsea believed that Endrick Santos can become a special player. This was last month when it was tweeted. Also, in regards to that Saudi team, Santos turned down a salary base of 8 million euros from Al Qadisiyah, around 5 times more than what he earns at Chelsea. Al Qadisiyah, who belonged to Aramco, the country's oil state company, offered 60 million pounds to Chelsea for the player, if this is true. And then we saw this come out earlier as well. From Ben Jacobs, Alex Crook, this is a little bit more reliable source. Endrick Santos is an ambitious target for Manchester United. The Brazilian was discussed initially during the early stage talks for Alejandro Garnacho. Chelsea's position is clear. Santos is simply not for sale, which is great to hear. I giggled because I was laughing at the idea of listening to Scott after this happened, if it did happen, where we get Garnacho and Endrick Santos goes the other way. I think Scott wouldn't be on his channel anymore. He'd just disappear off Chelsea YouTube in general.
My head would never have left Pluto if that happened. No, Marshall, you don't understand. My head would be permanent residence on Pluto if that happened.
Yeah, I think you just.
I don't think that was ever going to happen. Like, thank the Lord that absolute moron Winstanley didn't have a chance to even.
There was a moment where we were worried about the directors and the future of this guy. Let's be honest.
No. I think the worry from Santos was that he was gonna ask for a transfer to a Bayern Munich or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
The worry was never that he was going to be sold to like Man United or nothing like that. Some people are worried
about the flipping for profit. Some people, not you, but some people.
Okay, but I don't think what's it called? I don't think like this would not have been flipping him for profit, if that makes sense. This would have been including him as part of a deal for a player where like that would have been stupid. It would have had to have been a 60 million plus or 70 million plus offer or whatever it was, right?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So that's where that's where the worry came. But like I said, if by some grace of God this happened, like I said, head on Pluto permanently, never coming back down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the reason I showed this chat and just anyone watching who is new to the channel, I feel like there has been a lot of shit talking in regards to Santos, and I do feel like some of it comes from the fact that there's a portion of the fan base that were willing and ready to just say this guy's coming in and benching Enzo immediately and so on and so forth. So putting him on this pedestal where you're going to have people who are just going to automatically disagree with you and be haters and kind of watch the demise of said player you put on a pedestal just to see you be wrong, right? It's all agenda driven shit. And I feel like I see a little bit of this on the timeline from time to time. Whenever Endrick Santos makes a cameo or something, I just feel like there's people scrutinizing, waiting to just make the comp of like, oh, this is the guy that was going to replace Enzo. Oh, this guy's useless, all this and that. Forgetting this is his first season at Chelsea. He is a young player. He's not, he's experienced, don't get me wrong, and he has leadership ability, but regardless, he is a young player that is learning under a new manager, a new system, a new. He's 21, by the way, in a new league, which is a league that is challenging for a lot of people. And I made the example last time he played, and he made that error that maybe kind of forced Chalobah in a shitty position. You watched today the game with Strasbourg and Ligue 1. You have more space to take those touches that he took for that game, right? You could probably get away with that in Ligue 1, but he's learning the hard way. You can't get away with that in the Premier League, especially at Stamford Bridge when you have a much more narrow pitch. So I feel like people just need to learn to be patient, especially with young players. This is a good player. It's a good talent. There's a reason why, even despite what people believe is him not playing well, United still want him. Saudi were willing to get him. There's teams that are out there that want the player. And if the player really wanted to leave, he probably could pursue a transfer over to these other teams. But he's not. He wants to stay at Chelsea. He likes the environment we've set for him here at Chelsea. In fact, a lot of the players like the environment at Chelsea, which I got to give kudos to the directors and the owners that, okay, you're establishing a tight-knit group of players, which is good. Maresca, too. Maresca gets a big portion of the credit on that, too. You're really establishing a tight-knit group of players that are watching out for each other, looking for each other's back. It wasn't that long ago where I saw Enzo Fernandez against all of Manchester United by himself and no one backing him. It was those days were so disgraceful, and I'm glad we're not there. It wasn't too long ago where we saw players fighting for penalties, Madueke, Jackson, when we all know Palmer was the guy who does the penalties, and Gallagher just watching until someone maybe told him, hey, you're captain, can you split this up? And then he finally have made progress in terms of an environment at Chelsea that these players want to come in and they want to stay. And I don't blame them. It's a good environment. But yeah, I think the Santos criticism is way, way too over the top. And I think Scott probably agrees with me.
I do. Also, I'm eating, by the way. If I have
You're fine.
I do, I think, and I am partly culpable for this because I did say that I thought he would bench Enzo, but I think the thing is with Santos is
by the way, if I remember correctly, you said that at a time where Enzo was he
was playing like shit.
He was playing like shit. So that was rightfully so. There are people saying that even now. So. Yeah. Yeah,
but even so, I think the problem that but I think the problem that the Chelsea fan base has, there's a few things. Number one is we just love shitting on players. Number two is Player FC, a lot of the hatred he's getting is from Enzo stands that just can't hear a bad word said about their star boy, which is cool, but that's a stupid way to go about things. And I think three is people just want to see some of these guys fail because they're bought by the sporting directors. People just don't want to take context into it. People just don't want to take context. This is a guy who's getting no minutes most games. He's had good games for us, by the way, in the Club World Cup especially. Has had good games. He's also had good games in the Prem. I think a couple of games he's come on has looked good. When he's getting 7 minutes a game, I don't know what the fuck you're expecting. 7 minutes in a game where you went we weren't down, we were drawing, but he's getting 7 minutes in a game. He's playing as a 10, which he has not played in. Didn't play there for Strasbourg. Didn't play there for the Brazilian national team, I don't believe. I don't know about when he was at Vasco. Wasn't watching Brazilian football, unfortunately, but that's the last 3 years, basically. Well, last 2 years, sorry, since he was at Strasbourg. He hasn't played as a 10. He's now playing as a 10, or he did against Forest when he was bad. So, I just think it requires patience. Unfortunately, the Chelsea fan base don't have any, but that's just what it's going to require.
Yeah, and honestly, it's like I said, people, if this player wasn't talented, other teams would not be trying to go in for him. And Saudi, especially, that ambitious price to put on him, to pay him, let's be fair, Saudi aren't going to pay anything for anyone either.
No, fuck the Saudi thing, because they sometimes do buy weird players. Bayern Munich wanted him and were willing to pay serious money for him.
Mm-hmm.
Bayern Munich, who, when it comes to young players, not all the time, but most of the time get it right with young players.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, it's just people have to be patient, and in due time, he's going... Listen, it took Caicedo wasn't this good when we started with Maresca, right? It took him a little bit. He was consistent, to a certain level. He was always he always held a standard, but he wasn't as good and as impactful as he's been lately this season or the latter half of last season. In the beginning, it took time. Same thing with Enzo. With Enzo, it took time. Even Lavia, I don't think we've seen the best of Lavia because Lavia has not been fit. But when Lavia starts getting going, when Santos starts getting going, I think learning the midfield role under Maresca, it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of failure, a lot of repetition, and then eventually he's going to, the players are going to understand. I remember seeing Enzo Fernandez in that box crashing number 10 from the very first Enzo Maresca game of the season against Man City. And then fast forward to 6 months later, you seeing it finally be more consistent and be more successful. So sometimes these things just take time. And I think with Santos, with Isugo, with all these players I named, give it time. And in due time, when it doesn't click and we've given it enough time, then we can talk about, okay, this is a dud. I think it's time to move it on. Okay. So I want to touch on a little bit of Cobham news before we actually move on to some Sunderland comments and recapping a little bit of yesterday's game. So just quickly to get up to speed on a few things that I've kind of left in the back burner for a while now. I never got to talk about this, the whole Samuel Smith situation. This was from obviously the end of the summer, the end of the transfer window. Matt Law reported that I don't quite know what has happened with Samuel Smith. There's talks of homesickness like Tyler Dibling when he came to Chelsea. Purely optically, it doesn't look great, but it's been passed by the league. It's got through the rules. And I think the Strasbourg fans think there's more of an inside job with this one. Strasbourg officials said this. H.A. Samuel Smith was a big hope for Chelsea, but after a few weeks, the coaches thought he wasn't playing enough for his development. We had to find something more suitable. We were able to react and rectify the mistake, according to L'Equipe. I think what it was is we needed to desperately get rid of Ben Chilwell, so we played some 4D chess to get him out of his loan and say it was homesickness. I could be wrong. There could be more to it as well. I'm very much looking at it at surface level. More on Cobham. Enzo Maresca had this to say about McQueen and Shim Muheka. Both are in his plans for sure. Shimmy was already with us. He played some games for us last year. The other one, Kavuma McQueen, for me is more of a winger. He scored 4 goals against Germany. I even watched that game. I was very impressed, but I already knew him. We always have one of my staff watching the second team, Chelsea under 21, since last year. They told me that this guy was very good, so I watched him. I think he's good. So good to know that there's always scouts watching the U21s. Obviously, that's part of the job. And we always have some place to pick from. And before I even get to that, one more thing. Kanu Dyer, another Cobham player and a promising one, has signed a new contract until 2030 at Chelsea and will spend the remainder of the season on loan at the Eredivisie side Volendam. So we have a Cobham player on loan over to Volendam. Reggie Walsh, another Cobham graduate that we picked out that is getting some minutes here and there, and Maresca rates the guy. The Blues wonder kid Reggie Walsh will sign his first professional contract with Chelsea next week, with sources confirming he has put pen to paper on a pre-agreed deal after turning 17 years old. Enzo Maresca is a particular fan of England youth player, and I believe he already signed it. Yeah, this was last week. I thought I had the tweet, but I guess I must have deleted it. But yeah, the player signed. He's going to be at Chelsea long term. I've yet to be impressed by the guy, but that doesn't mean that I won't be impressed later on when he has maybe a more game minutes and more of a real role that he can dominate and really showcase his ability. But yeah, between the Samuel Smith stuff and this and the other stuff, I don't know, Scott, if you have any input on any of it. Or any thoughts on Reggie Walsh? Chat as well. What do you guys think on Reggie Walsh? Do you guys think this is a good talent?
Give me a second.
You're good. You're eating. I know. I haven't seen anything from it either. Stocks are low right now. That's fair enough. Yeah, that's fair enough. Other managers will get the best out of him. Are you talking about Reggie Walsh? Maybe. But yeah, like I haven't seen enough of Reggie Walsh to have an opinion, but a lot of people are speaking really highly of him, and Maresca likes him too. So hopefully he's just not another Conor Gallagher or something. I would hate that.
He looks more. The one thing I'll say about excuse me, about Reggie Walsh is he looks more technically gifted than Gallagher does. Like I think you saw, and I think this is what you can judge. Like I know what I said earlier about Endrick, but I think there are certain things you can judge quite early with players. I think technical ability is certainly one of them in terms of what kind of base level do they have. I think his base technical level, even with the limited minutes he has, I think you can see is better than Gallagher's. Whether it's better than like a Billy Gilmore's, remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
But his technical ability looks better than Gallagher's right now, so I don't worry about that so much. I'm more worried about like what's his future in terms of position, because I don't really see him as a deep midfielder. Like when we brought him on against Ajax, he was one of the 2 6s, which I don't really see his position. And I think when in the academy, he's a 10. So that's going to be interesting to see where that develops going forward. On the Samuel Smith thing, by the way, I find that situation weird in the sense of like I don't think it was what Strasbourg thought it was like, because I looked at the games he could have played. He could have played 5 games. 2 of the games I don't know if he played, because unfortunately Google won't show me what the lineups were in their playoff games against Brøndby. In the 3 league games they played, he was on the bench for 1 of them. 2 of them he didn't even make the squad. And I look at the players ahead of him in the pecking order at the time. You had Barco, Moreira was playing wing back. He started playing Rosinha, started playing Uatara at wing back as well to start the season. But he had already had 2 players ahead of him. I don't think we were sending him there to play immediately. That would be, well, we might have done, but that would be stupid. Like I said, we might have done. So I think it was just kind of the what's it called, the
Joel Santos.
Yeah, I think it was the homesickness thing.
Okay.
Because it's not. I think people forget this as well with young players. It's not easy to go over to a new country, even though it's a country that's close to England, obviously in France, but it's a different culture. Like even countries in the same continent, 2 different countries. It's a different culture. It's a different way of doing things. You have to behave differently, and you have to react differently. And I'm talking about from a perspective of as a tourist or as some nobody, basically. I'm not even looking at it from the perspective as a footballer, as a celebrity, as a guy in the public eye, so I can understand why he get like that. Like he said there, it was the same with Tyler Dibbling at Southampton, or when he joined us. Like that was only, he moved, what's it, a couple of hours north, but for him at the time, it was just not the right fit, or not fit, but like scenario. It wasn't the right situation for him. It wasn't the right environment at the time.
Sure.
And he goes back to Southampton. He has a few more years there, and then he moves to Everton, because then it's the right moment for him to move. So I think it's just a case of that more than anything. I think obviously the Ben Chilwell thing
makes it look worse.
Not makes it look worse, but makes it look like there was some different, like, behind the scenes sort of stuff. But I think the Ben Chilwell thing was more just a case of trying to get him out of the club, finding a way to move him that meant he wasn't on the books for Chelsea. And I think it was more of that. I know people might say or might disagree, but I think that was more just a coincidence more than anything. That whole situation.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that as well. I could see both ends of it. I do agree. Like, if you really think about it, it's pretty. I'm not gonna say it's rare, but it's. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's a little rare. There's very few players, for example, like English players that go abroad at a young age and really thrive. When you look at, English players outside of the UK, there's not really many of them at a young age. You look at over the course of time, like I'm thinking like Sancho was one of them.
He thrived. I think
Moise Keane was a player that
he's not English.
Wait, who am I thinking of?
I think most do. They're obviously exceptional. I think most do. I think
I can't remember.
I think the difference is English players are scared's the wrong word. There is a comfortability, I think, with English players about playing in England because there's always there is always somewhere to play, right? Like it's very rare. There's a reason that bro, there's guys I can remember in terms of this name's gonna go over most people's head probably. Like Marcus McGuinn was a guy who he was the first English player to play for Barcelona since Gary Lineker. Right? And he went and joined their academy. He didn't really play a lot,
and he's now back in England. I think he plays in League One or League Two. But like, as an example, it doesn't happen a lot. You know, it was a big thing when Bellingham moved to Real Madrid. Outside of just the transfer fee, actually, screw that. It was a big thing when Bellingham moved to Dortmund. You know, it was a big thing when Gilmore, for example, I know he's not English but Scottish, not the same thing, but in the UK, it was a big thing when like him and what's his face moved to him, McTominay moved to Napoli. Like, it's a big thing when these English or these UK guys move abroad, because it does not happen regularly. It should happen more regularly, because I think more British players should be comfortable or should feel they have that option to go abroad and learn something new. But yeah, it doesn't happen often. Like, it really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And I'm trying to think, who's a player I'm thinking of that
I have no
went
idea.
over to the he played for Fiorentina recently. He was in Roma for a bit, and I swear he was English.
Moise Keane's Italian, so it definitely isn't him.
Did he get nationalized?
No, he came through the Juventus academy. How many years ago are we talking, by the way?
I'm thinking like in the last 5 years. Oh, I'm thinking of Smalling. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay. He didn't play for Fiorentina, but I don't think he did anyway. He played for Roma.
I got him confused for a minute. But yeah, Smalling, for example, like, I only remember Smalling being in Italian clubs since I've known of it. I don't know what club he played for in England before moving out to Roma. But like, it's very rare to find English players outside of England. Tammy is another example of a player that left young as well. Not like super young, but like young enough where it's like, okay, this is an interesting move for you.
And it was a move that, like, and sorry, again, with these moves, the Tammy one, it ended badly at Roma, but that was a move that was good for him. That did a lot of positive things, especially getting to work under Mourinho as well. He's now in Besiktas. I don't know how he's doing.
Yeah, this is a big one too. Trippier from Italy. That was
and
rare.
That's because again, he at the back end of his career for Tottenham was finished, chalked, like done. Went to Atletico Madrid and kind of rejuvenated his career. Kind of managed to turn it around a bit. Was good for them. Was starting on a regular basis. But yeah, I think it's good for these players to do it. You know, because like I said, you either get a Trippier thing if you get to rejuvenate your career a little bit, or for like a Tammy thing, you get to like come out of your comfort zone and get to expand your mind's the wrong word, but like expand your kind of footballing mind, so to speak. So yeah, I think like it's more British players should do it. Obviously, there's going to be exceptions to the rule, and there's going to be instances where it doesn't work. But I think for the most part, it's a success. You know.
100%. Okay, let's. Oh, I already have my screen being shared. All right, we'll just move on to the next topic. I keep forgetting my screen share. No, I didn't mean to do that. I thought I had exited out. Sunderland. Let's talk about the aftermath of Sunderland. Cucurella came out with these comments in regards to the defeat. It's really tough one to take. We are all very disappointed, of course. We need to improve with these matches. I think we need to learn to manage the game better. We scored early, dominated at that stage, but then we let the opponents back into it. And I think we need to learn to kill off games when we are on top. Cucurella also added, we scored the first goal, and I think we should have scored a second one when we had the chance. We need to learn to be better against teams that come with a game plan, such as Sunderland, where they stay very narrow and compact. The good thing is that it is still early into the season. We have many games where we can improve, and we have plenty of time to do this and secure more points. The thing is, I agree with Cuckoo. Obviously, these are all things that we know. We need to improve on these things. We need to... And to be fair, yes, early in that first half, there was plenty of opportunities or chances to get a goal. Even if the XG on it wasn't that high, maybe because of a bad touch. For example, in that game yesterday, Neto, horrible pass to Garnacho, which I also feel like if it was the other way around and Garnacho gave that horrible pass to Neto, Neto at least makes something out of it. Garnacho not being good enough to make anything out of it. But I'm not putting it on Garnacho. I'm putting it more on Neto because there's different expectations for different players. But like, it's just not having that edge to, bro, we need to finish off games. We need to, when we get our chances early, take those chances and then coast for the rest of the game versus have a chance, get to halftime, we're still winning, we're still dominating possession, let's just coast because we're dominating possession, and then boom, right out of nowhere, you're all of a sudden a goal behind. It's just, it's frustrating, and I do hope the team fixes up because I think all of us know like this team has a lot of good potential. This team has what it takes to, do a lot of impressive things this season. Like, I still believe, and people are going to call me deluded for this, but we got to hit our Marshall delusion quota for the week. So here you go. I still think outside of Liverpool, I still think we're going to be one of the few teams that are actually going to be able to beat Arsenal this season. Like in the upcoming game after international break, I do give us a good shout to be able to beat Arsenal. I think we can. I think we have all the tools to be able to defeat Arsenal, even at their best, even if Gabriel's available and even all that. However, it's if we step up for that game, if we set up properly, which I trust Enzo to set up properly for that game. What I don't trust sometimes is the players' mentalities. And for example, against Sunderland, the ability to not look so sluggish, the ability to pick up a game from the scruff of the neck and just force something out of that game. Because again, it's not like Sunderland had us pinned back. We were cruising most of that game, and it's the defensive errors, the lack of focus that cost us. It sucks that I'm even saying this, but like, if that was Fofana in that situation, I don't think we concede those goals. I'm being so honest. Even if it was Fofana with Acheampong, I think Fofana has enough leadership that he tells Acheampong to position himself in a better situation, and maybe he defends that. Like, it's those little details, those difference in players and where they are in their careers and where they are in their abilities that, just kind of brings it down. And I hate to say it, I think we were talking about this yesterday. At this rate, I just think at the end of the season, whether we bring in another center back or not, or we stick with Mamadou Sarr and Anselmino, I think Chalobah and Tosin are probably on their way out this summer. You can't have this many inconsistent performances, and you can't be this bad for this long. Like, I even think to an extent Chalobah's game has gotten worse since last season, and so I think it's a time where, like, listen, for your own sakes, find another club. I don't think it's going to work out here.
Interesting you're saying that.
Go for it, Prime. Why is it interesting?
Interesting. Chelsea fans now want to have that conversation. It's very interesting. Cool. Don't worry. No, don't worry. Let them stay, and you guys can continue to suffer. It's cool. It's cool.
No, I mean, we've sold Cobham graduates before. It's not like this is new to us, but I do think Chalobah, and I said this yesterday, right? If Chalobah was anything like he was last season, where he was consistently giving me 6, 7, from time to time he would rise up to an 8 or a 9. He's had his perfect games from time to time, but he was always around a 6 or a 7, where he's solid. He's not gonna give me too many issues, and even if he does give me an issue, there's players behind him that can clean up the mess. That's fine. This season, I feel like his average game has been around a 4 or a 5, where he's just been like a liability.
Marshall, it's okay to say it. He is not a good squad player for Chelsea, or wherever you want to go to.
Sure.
He's not even a good, starter. Like, for example, right?
He's definitely not a good starter. I don't think he should be a starter, period, to be honest.
Why I have more vim with Chalobah as opposed to Tosin is,
Tosin was bought. We got him on a free from Fulham, and he was a backup to Colwell. Because aside from Colwell, the only other guy in the team that can really do what Colwell does, I'm not even saying the same ability, but who has the same function, is Tosin. So he was always a back. If Colwell was fit right now, Tosin would not be playing as many games. That's why I don't necessarily have as much vim towards Tosin. Why I have vim towards Chalobah is he's been here for how long? He's not improved as a player. He's never been good on the ball. You're not the quickest. And now that you're older, now you're one of the oldest players in our squad, and you're our most experienced centre-back, you are no better at reading the game than Achimpong. Achimpong, who's a teenager. Achimpong, who we don't really know if he's a right back or a centre back, and you're no better than he is. That's why we still have to rely on you. Because with Fofana, I know apparently he's fit now. I don't know because he didn't play last game. But Fofana may be fit now, but we don't know how long he'll stay fit for. Paddy Shield got fit just to play Liverpool, and now he's injured again.
Yeah.
We don't have anyone else. And we can't even rely on you as a squad player, because now that we have to use our squad, it's showing that in defense it's not good. Why do we still have this problem? And there will still be people, because I see how people react online. You people that are now going at Chalobah and Tosin, you are the same ones defending them. Well, not even Tosin, mainly Chalobah, defending him in the summer, defending him last season, talking about how, he's actually a good guy. He's one of our best. Why did we sell him out on loan to Palace? Tuchel rates him. Silva rates him. He's one of the best centre backs. Apparently, according to SofaScore or whatever, he's one of the highest rated centre backs in the league this season. Go through the teams in the Prem. Do you know how many teams have better starting centre backs than we have this season? I take Van der Ven and Romero. I take Mukiele from Sunderland. I take Nathan Collins from Brentford. I take Konsa from Villa.
Savage Murillo. I take both of those.
Yes. I take Danso from Spurs, and he doesn't start for them. These are the level of... Look at the level of defenders I'm talking about, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we have to deal with. And
I just think...
what you said, Marsha, about how you think we can still beat Arsenal, or when we've had conversations about going far in the Champions League or potentially winning the Champions League, that truly relies upon which centre backs are fit to play those games. I'll be so honest with you.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even yesterday, Sanchez didn't really do anything wrong. So it's not even like
he's passing the shit, but that's always...
The last since the red card against United, the last few games he's been fine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I can't trust going into big games like who to play.
That's funny because I said this yesterday, Prime, and maybe you agree with me. I feel like the roles have now reversed, where like now we're more worried about Tosin and Chalobah in that center back role than I am Sanchez behind him. Whereas last year I was worried about Sanchez fucking up my center backs. Now it's the opposite.
Yeah, it's like the fact that I want to have Achimpong and Hato both play if Fofana's not fit. And people will say, oh, that's crazy because you can't have two teenagers playing, which, fine. Mm-hmm. But this is the situation that we're in. If we can't rely on Fofana to play, then there's a conversation of just playing the two 18-year-olds who, like, people will say, oh, Hato's a left back or Achimpong's a left back. This is the fault that we're in. And then this fan base will still want to blame Maresca. What else should we do? What other solutions do we actually have that he hasn't thought of? What other solutions are there? Because he's playing the teenager, but he can't play anyone else with him.
Mm-hmm.
It's so frustrating because Arsenal are top now, and people are saying they're favorites for the league and stuff. And as great as Arsenal are defensively, they're beatable to this league. Liverpool have amazing attackers, but the way they've started off the season, they're beatable to the league. And no one's really mentioning City. So the fact that we can't even have a genuine run at the title, never mind us winning the league, but an actual just run at it this season, is horrendous. But then again, you could have said that last year as well, because the start we had to the season going into January, why couldn't we invest in? Yes, we fell off in December, but if we'd made the adequate investments in January, we could have maybe got back and continued pushing. Like, why are we still? We spent all this money, and our best centre backs are from Cobham, and they're not even as good as Colwell has been the last few months. He's not a top level centre back yet.
He's not world class.
And we're begging for him to come back. And when he comes back, how long will it take for him to be ready? Yeah. What if his first few games he doesn't look good yet, which is expected because of his injury? Then the fan base is going to shit on Colwell as well.
I was going to say, in regards to what I mentioned about Arsenal, and I'll go to Scott with this. I think today I was thinking about it because obviously they won their game. They're at the top of the league right now. City lost theirs, right? And we lost ours as well. Like, it looks like, and this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that if Arsenal win this league this season, I don't think it's because they had the best team. I think it's because everyone else dropped the ball. Scott, do you agree with that?
To an extent, yes, but I also do feel like they've done well in terms of like still getting results against teams and whatnot. So they'll still have done enough and done well enough to like deserve what's it called, winning. But yeah, I don't know. Like I think some of it is the league, but I also think that they'll deserve it if they win it. Like the fact that they're already 4 points clear, they're 8 points clear of us as well. Like, it's because they've actually won games. Yes, it might not be the most attractive, and like it's not, and they
7
do score a lot
games in a row now.
But you still got to win those games at the end of the day. So,
yeah, I'm holding on to hope that towards the end of the season they'll start collapsing and capitulating again, and just start dropping points, and everyone else will catch up. Because I also don't think, like, again, right now the way things look like, we're not in a title race, we're in a top 4 race, but I do think we will be in and amongst the top 4, and I do think we'll be close enough that we will be able to capitalize on mistakes that Arsenal do going forward. I don't think they're going to continue to win like this. I don't think they're going to do 10 wins in a row. I don't think they're going to hit 14 wins in a row. I don't think so on and so forth. I also don't think this defense is as good as people say it is. If we're talking about their defense, if you're saying that, I disagree massively. Their defense is as good as we think it is. Well,
yeah, it is.
When I say that, I don't think their defense is going to break Chelsea's defensive record.
Oh, no, but no one.
Which is as good as they think. No, there's a lot of fans that think they're as good as that.
They don't need to break our record to win this league.
No, they don't.
Also,
I'm just saying, like, I do think it's the best defense in the world right now because it's hard to beat it. Like, I can't think of another team.
I disagree with people that say that we're in the top 4 race, by the way. We're not.
Okay.
We're still
what do you think
better
we're in? We're still in the title race?
Like, it's only not. No, we're not in the title race, but we're still better than everyone else below us. And what below us, I mean, like, it's only 9 games. So the table looks weird now. It's 9 games, but
you don't think we're in a title race, but you think we're pretty much guaranteed top 4.
Yeah, when you take out Liverpool, Arsenal, and City in whatever order you have those teams finishing in, so better than everyone else. Our only challengers for top, if you want to say for top 4, is Spurs and Newcastle, and we're better than that.
I also was thinking yesterday, and I don't know if you guys felt this way, but after yesterday's result, I felt like bro, are we gonna have the same exact season Arsenal had last season, where we were just not consistent in the beginning and below expectation, but we rode it out and we ended up finishing comfortably in top 4? But just weren't in a race, kind of like what Prime alluded to.
Yeah, we'll finish. Oh, you're asking Scott. Sorry, go ahead, Scott.
Because, like, let's be real. By January, Arsenal were no longer in a race. They were just finishing top 4 comfortably. And I feel
Not
like
true.
yesterday's game made me feel like
They
that.
were, yes, but it was
had-
second. Like,
I still had Arsenal in the title race. I'll be real. When people were talking about Arsenal have fallen off and they're done by, was it October, November? I still said they're in the title race and they're still competing.
Mm-hmm.
So even though, and I know the points margin looked a bit odd, but I still think Arsenal were competing up until Liverpool mathematically won.
Yeah. Scott, what do you think?
So, yeah, but sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the problem is like, Arsenal was still there and had the ability to be there, and even though they finished second, they were 10 points off. There was still an element of them being up there and them being in the conversation because of their defense. Whereas with us, outside the midfield, there's not really an area of our team that you can go, okay, that's why we're going to be at the top or in and around the top. Yeah, I just don't see it. And I don't think it's the same as Arsenal from that perspective. Yeah, I just don't see how we stay there. I think top 4 is the best we can hope for this season. Which, like, I'm gonna be so honest, I don't care. That's not a successful season, by the way. Top 4 is the bare minimum this season. Last season it was a success because we needed to get top 4 because we've been out of it for a couple of years. It's not a success this season. Top 4 is not a success. It's not progress.
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
It's not, especially, by the way, not because I asked this question before actually, and I want to ask it both of you. Say we finished 3rd. We got 69 points last season, right?
Sure.
We were 15 points off of top. If we were to get 3rd on, let's just say 74 points, but we were 18 points off of top, would you consider that progress?
Prime, you can go first.
Sorry, I'm eating something.
Okay, I'll go first. Do I win any trophies along the way, or is it the same exact thing, just more points?
I say you get to semi-finals of both domestic competitions, and let's be kind and say the quarters of the Champions League.
I personally wouldn't think that's progress.
Good, I'm glad
you
I'm not
can
the
make
only
the
one.
argument that it is, but I don't think.
Yeah, I was gonna say progress. Because to be honest, I included the other stuff because you asked. We could win the other. Unless if we won the one of domestic trophies, different conversation.
Yeah, that's a different conversation.
We could get to the final of everything in terms of we could get the Champions League final and the final of both domestic cups, not win anything, and have that league position in the league. That's not progress. Because for me, progress is like, for example, we could finish 4th this season, but be 10 points from the title, and it could just be that close. I wouldn't really say that's progress either, but that's more progress than 18 points away from the title and finishing 3rd, because it's about closing the gap. That's progress, is closing the gap to the title challenge, to the guys above us, which that's how you win a title, by closing the gap.
Wait, so Scott, you said we finished 3rd, 18 points off.
Yeah, 3rd, we finish on more points than last season, but we finish 18, let's say 18 or more points off the top.
And we don't win anything.
And we don't win anything else. We get to the 2 semi-finals and a quarter.
Are we in a top 4 race?
We finished 3rd.
Yeah, we finished 3rd.
Yeah, but you can still finish 3rd and be in a top 4 race.
I mean, I think we're in a top 4 race anyway. Like, we're not finishing 1st. So I think that by default, that's a top 4 race. Like,
oh, okay. No, it's not progress.
Good.
Because even though we're a position higher, technically, we're still we're 3 points worse. No, 4 points. 3 points worse.
Yeah, we're further away from the title than we were last season.
Yeah, so no, it wouldn't be progress.
No.
Wait, okay. So with that question you asked, then let me add another one to that. Would you guys want Maresca gone?
Probably not.
I'm going to say the same thing I said last season. If he's the reason why we've got worse, yes. If he's not, like for example, if we are like if we finish where we finish, and it's because he started Chalobah or Tosin for the entire season at every opportunity, and he was like doing decisions like Malagusto midfield and stuff like that.
Yeah.
When there are other options, I will say, then I would say probably yes, because you're the reason why we didn't get top four ultimately.
Yeah.
But if it's a case of like he's playing Josh and Fofana, but Fofana's getting injured, so he has to play one of the other two. If the attack still stinks because they're just bad players, then no. Then no, that's just not on him. Like, so that's going to be judged at the end of the season, because it will depend on how much of a hand he has. And also, this is as well, but also, unfortunately, the Maresca out thing is like, it's always going to come with the caveat of, doesn't mean the sporting directors leave as well.
Yeah.
No, then it's fucking redundant.
That's what I was thinking, Scott, when you said about finishing third but 18 points off and stuff, and is that progress? Then I started thinking, in my head, what would be the cause that we regress? And I automatically started thinking about our center backs. And
it would be
has been good in a few games, and also Sanchez. So that for me would be like if we, okay, I don't see us really in the top four race, but if we finish fifth, if we're outside the top four,
oh my god,
I will also look at Maresca.
Yeah,
because even with the problems, I still expect us to be better than the rest of the league.
I completely agree with that. By the way, if we finish outside the top four, regardless of the decision, Maresca should go, because while the defense has got worse and the attack hasn't really improved, there is still this league is shit enough as it is.
Yeah, we can
for us to finish top four.
Yeah. Now,
so if we were to finish, the only saving grace this, by the way, is if fifth place is Champions League. If that happens and we get fifth, that's going to save him in my mind. Just. But if it isn't and he just misses out on Champions League, he deserves to go regardless.
I mean, it'll save him, but we'll all know it's fifth with an asterisk.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
For me, I look at it and think, like, everyone that wants Maresca gone, fine. I can't trust who they bring in next, because all this fan base tells me is Maresca is not even better than Poch. So if they sacked Poch and they got in someone worse, that kind of tells me the next guy they bring in is arguably going to be worse. I don't. Okay, if it's the Zerbi's gonna be a guy that's gonna kick out if he still has to use Chalobah.
So, that's why I don't think it's gonna be the Zerbi, even though they are.
No, I think it might be the Zerbi because of how buddy they were with him or Wayne Barley was.
I don't mind. I think the Zerbi is a brilliant coach. I don't mind, but if they bring in the Zerbi will give out about having to use Chalobah next season, kick up a fuss and get sacked, or they won't hire him anyway.
I think Chalobah's gone. Yeah.
Or we bring in Liam Ross in there, who again I also like, but he's still a young manager, and he's still gonna have to use the bullshit that we have. Like I know Marshall was saying that Chalobah and Tosin will be gone. I'll be honest, I think Chalobah's still gonna be here next year. Tosin could potentially go, fine.
Sure.
But I still think Chalobah could be here next year. Depending how well Penders develops for the rest of the season, Sanchez could still be here starting. Like, we could still be having the drawbacks we have next year. And who's to say, like, with a new guy having to learn, I know we kind of play similar-ish, but a complicated system. If we're still losing certain games with Rosenier, what is the excuse then going to be? Are we going to say Rosenier is not good? Is that what we're going to do? Again, keep blaming managers.
Before you guys respond to that, I do want to take this moment to actually transition to one of the topics I had, which is talking about Rosenior and Maresca. No, you're fine. You didn't know. Enzo Maresca. According to Matt Law, earlier this week, Maresca joined George Mendes, Guiu'S agency as he attempts to prove himself amongst top coaches in European football, which I think he is. Chelsea remains in control of Enzo Maresca's future as he's under a contract until 2029, and the club also have the option to extend his deal by a further year. Maresca will be reviewed in the summer based on league finish, how he utilizes the squad, used subs, rotated minutes, and how he manages players' recovery. Oops. And then one more thing here. Blueco are over the moon with what is going on at Strasbourg, the football they play under Liam Rosenior, and the players who are blossoming under his guidance. So, you know, some signs to look at. Maresca also said this. They told me this morning that before today's game, we had exactly the same amount of points as last year after 8 games. Dropping points today, I think we're still in October. We need to improve many things and see where we are in March, April, May, and then decide. I mean, if you have to wait until that time to decide, I think it's a little too late, to be honest with you, Maresca. But I also understand the point of having patience in how the team is going to go and how we're going to perform and how to fix things internally, right? But on to what Prime was saying about Rosenior and De Zerbi. I do like the idea that if Maresca were to get sacked, those are 2 options. I think because De Zerbi is a good one, I think because possession-based football. And there's players in here that De Zerbi has already coached that are from Brighton, that he's familiar with. And I think something could happen there. Will it be De Zerbi? Maybe not. I'm inclined to believe not because of just how hard-headed he can be. And Rosenior, I mean, he's already under the Blueco tenureship, and he's been really impressing and doing. Obviously, today the result didn't go his way, but it's been impressive what they're doing in Strasbourg, or Rosenior, what he's been doing in Strasbourg.
I think the thing that Rosenior has over like De Zerbi or Maresca,
to be fair, he didn't really bottle PSG. It was a 3-3. I mean,
yeah, he didn't bottle.
Still victory,
he didn't.
You know,
again,
minor victory.
He didn't bottle PSG, and they didn't bottle Leon either. But like, anyway, I think the thing that Rosenior has over those two with this squad, and this is something we talked about on Lewis's channel, I think earlier today or yesterday, whenever it was. He has the ability to be flexible, which, considering the players we're buying and the profiles and everything, is probably good. Because like you see at the moment, we've got wingers that kind of don't fit a possession style system, especially when playing a low block. We've got, like, you could argue centre backs that don't really fit a high line and whatnot, especially when we're pressing teams or you've got teams pinned in their final third. So I do think having a guy who can be adaptable, you know, player back 4, player back 3, move players about a little bit, could actually benefit this team. Now, obviously, you've got the argument or like the comment people have of what has he won? Fair enough. But yeah, I think that could be good. De Zerbi I like, but you're going to run into similar issues with Maresca in terms of, I think his system is slightly different, but you're still going to run into issues in terms of some of these guys not being good enough. And I agree with Prime in terms of he is not one that's just going to sit idly by and accept it. He didn't at Brighton. That's why he left. And also, that people have seen that his methods with players are interesting, is all I'll say. Don't know how I feel. Yeah, go and watch the videos of him at Marseille. Some of them are not good. Like, some of them are not good. So yeah, I don't know about. But I do like him as a manager. If we're just purely focusing on that element.
Going back to what you had discussed previously, right? I do think there is a strong argument to say that if we were to finish 15 points away from first place but are finishing third, if those cup runs, let's just say we don't win a cup, but we get to the final of each one, the domestic ones, and then we get to like a semi of the Champions League, I would make the argument that is progress, because that at least shows that in a season where we had the most amount of football between Club World Cup and Champions League and all that stuff, that we can at least sustain a certain level, and that if we improve from there, then we should, the next season, without a doubt, we should be expecting trophies and a much more closer of a title race.
Oh, I expect a trophy this season.
And I do too, to be fair. I do too. Like, I want either Carabao or FA Cup. Give me one of those trophies. I think we should be in those conversations. We should be in the we should be making that final. But I do think you can consider that progress in the sense of, like, okay, you went up to third. Obviously, we didn't close up much of the gap for the title race, but you at least went far in the other competitions in a very busy schedule when you just came back from Club World Cup. I think that, when you look at it from that picture, I do think it's not, I'm not going to say impressive, because that makes it seems like I've dropped my standard, right? But, like, I will say that's like, okay, that's good that you were able to sustain that. I need you to do better, though. Right?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a hot take.
I hear you, but that's assuming that, like, that's assuming that we still have injuries. Like for example, Palmer.
Mm-hmm.
If Palmer has another setback and he's out for a huge chunk of this season, and we get another injury to, say, like Fofana stays out injured, Lavia stays out injured.
Yeah.
Say, God forbid, we get an injury to, like, Neto, meaning we have to see more of Garnacho and get in some stuff. And you know what I mean? If we get more injuries to having to play this much, then yeah, fine. Like, I get it. We could be worse, but that doesn't necessarily mean per se it's all on Maresca. But I don't know. For me, it's just, unless Maresca, like, truly pisses me off, I won't have reason to automatically want to point at him and want him gone. Just because I know the guys above they either won't get a better manager, or they'll get a manager of the similar-ish level, but with nothing else will change. If Rosenier comes in, but we still have to deal with the same bullshit of, oh, we bought a 16-year-old, he's going to go on loan to Strasbourg, and he'll be ready to start for us in 2 years, then what's the point? Like, I'm not... It's not, at this point, I'm not just going to blame Maresca for everything. Because Maresca leaving doesn't fix everything. I wish it did, but it doesn't fix everything.
No, it doesn't. Actually, you know what? Let me tie this into the next one too, because you just brought it up in terms of, like, the same transfers and all that stuff. And I have a little bit of a segment in terms of the squad building, and this is a trigger warning to some of you, Scott. There's gonna be some things said here that people are gonna like.
Shitty squad building again.
Yeah, here we go. They're not wrong, but I already know Scott might get a little upset. So PYS saying here that Chelsea know it is early days in the season, but understand that there is some validation amongst the higher ups in regard to how Liverpool are doing this season. The club want to see highlighted that signing hugely expensive players doesn't always mean instant success, nor does offering huge wages just based on players' name. Chelsea feel their approach to the market with data, incentivized wages, and building a youth culture that grows together will see the club be one of the dominant forces in England long term. Adding on, suggestions that Chelsea should add a few experienced veterans to the balance their young squad have been dismissed by club insiders who argued that age does not necessarily equal experience. They believe the team's younger players already possess significant top-level game time. And then lastly, here from Matt Law, claims that Chelsea would benefit from adding a couple of old-timers to the young squad, swiftly rejected by insiders who are adamant the age is okay. The same thing I pretty much said. Here's the thing. In regards to this tweet, I don't think, like, I'll say, like, there's a small portion of the Chelsea fan base right now, and this is me, like, steel manning the argument, right? Like, I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here. I think there's a good portion of the fan base and maybe like 10%, like 10% portion of the fan base right now that currently still feel that we have to buy Leao, we have to buy Osimhen, we have to buy Vardiol, we have to buy like these elite names, these big names. Like there's no reason why we shouldn't have bought Reinders, so on and so forth. And that's a small portion of the fan base, I feel now. I do feel like the majority of the fan base are okay with the idea of recruiting young, as long as those young players are of a certain caliber, like the caliber of Estevao, the caliber of Palmer, the caliber of, I'll even throw in a name like Olise in there, he was a very good talent that all of us wanted from Crystal Palace, and he ended up going to Bayern. Bayern ended up winning that race because we dropped the ball on that one. It's when you bring in players like a Garnacho, which the fan base have seen at Premier League level multiple times, and they already know what they're going to get from that player. When you're leaving, like, and again, I think good portion of us here in this fan base would have been happy if you had gone and gotten Malik Fofana from Lyon as your left winger option instead of Garnacho, because at least Malik Fofana has played a decent amount now at Lyon. He has a little bit of experience, and you see the type of winger that he is on that left hand side is the type of winger that Maresca is looking for. Someone that's going to be direct, attacking, attack minded, so on and so forth, and he can be really creative. You know, those are the types of talents that Chelsea fans are looking at and be like, why aren't we going for those talents?
Side note, until he broke his ankle, until he got his ankle broken, he was very good today.
Oh, damn it. But that's a player that, you know.
But I would have been Malik Fofana or Guiu'S. Because remember, in terms of
I would have been fine with that, because at least Guiu'S has, like, I know I didn't like his price tag, but there's a player
in terms
there.
Of experience,
mm-hmm.
Garnacho is the experienced winger. Neto, who we got last summer, an experienced winger.
Yeah.
So
Semenyo too. Yeah, I put Semenyo in
done that. Also, Semenyo, but Semenyo doesn't fit within the age range. Also, with the talk about the experience and us not needing, just because they're older doesn't mean they're more experienced and stuff. You know who fits into that perfectly, into their argument? Chalobah and Tosin. That fits into the argument of we should continue along the model, because when you have experience, it doesn't necessarily mean they're good.
Mm-hmm. Scott, how do you feel about this whole validated, because they're looking at how Liverpool are falling apart, and they recruited top, heavy hitters and all that, which is what our fan base wanted for a long time.
It shows just a lack of critical thinking, which I'm not surprised.
That's kind of what I'm saying, right? Because I feel like they're missing the criticism.
Look at what's happening in Liverpool. So look at what's happening in Liverpool and put it down to, they've just spent a lot. This is why you don't sign expensive players. To come away with that as the takeaway, but you're stupid. Straight up, you're an idiot, man. If you're looking at Liverpool and going, that's why you don't buy expensive players, and that's the reason they're not doing well. No. What Liverpool is showing is why you don't buy a bunch of players that play the same position or do not fit together tactically and try and fit them all in one team. That's what they're showing, because that's why you don't need Isak and Ekitike in the same team. You need one of them. They still spent big money on Ekitike, who's been very good for them this season. That is, funnily enough, not been brought up. The fact that Ekitike, they spent 88 million on him, and he's been very good.
Been their best signing so far.
Yeah, 100%. It also doesn't help, by the way, because again, when you're trying to convince other people of this point, common sense and other reasons don't come into it. It also doesn't help for Liverpool that their two most senior players in the team, who have been very good for them, have decided to just shit themselves this season. Just completely and utterly decide that, I'm done now. My career's done.
I got my last contract. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm done. But funnily enough, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like to put what's happening at Liverpool down to this is like the reason they're failing is because they spent big money on big players and gave them big wages is fucking stupid. And I'm not surprised because look who's involved in this thought process. The three morons you have in front of you on the screen.
Going along with what you're saying, I think I agree. Breaking the British transfer record twice and getting all these rock star players for the sake of just getting them, Galacticos and all that stuff, kind of like how Real Madrid approached their window with Kylian Mbappe and all that. I think that's brainless and thoughtless, and I don't think any Chelsea fan, outside of that 10% that I mentioned, right, is asking for that. I think this is also pretty daft, if it's true, that you think of all the criticisms coming out from the Chelsea fan base, the one that you latch onto is this idea that the Chelsea fans want you to buy Galacticos and make a team of Galacticos. It's really ridiculous. When I think the biggest criticism from Chelsea fans, I think, is the fact that you aren't recruiting the best players for the model that you want, for the positions that you want. And even then, on that, even going on with that, even if you are recruiting players in those positions, you're not recruiting them for now. You're recruiting them for next season when they're developed and ready. And even then, we don't know. Maybe it'll take another loan for them. Like when we needed a midfielder and Andre Santos, you got Andre Santos thinking 2 seasons from the season we needed that midfielder. You get what I'm saying? So it's just like you can have both. Well, now it's a little harder because of the UEFA restrictions that you put us under. But like without the restrictions, we're fully capable of being able to do both. We can get players for the now that don't cost you too much. They don't have to be the biggest names out there. Like I don't even care that we didn't get Xavi Simons. Yeah, Xavi Simons is a great player, but like if you got Malik Fofana, then we would have had a different conversation. No one would have been thinking about Xavi Simons right now because Malik Fofana would be on the pitch proving to everyone like, oh, this is a good player. Look at Estevao. No one's talking about how they miss Olise now because Estevao's in the team. Go ahead, Scott.
Christian Mosquera is currently better than any of our centre-backs outside of maybe even Josh. Do you know how much he cost?
Hincapié even was available, bro.
Forget Hincapié. Hincapié they signed on loan, yes, but let's just say because Christian Mosquera is someone we've looked at in the past.
I think it was 15, right?
I think it was 13, 15.
Yeah.
Wait, we looked at Mosquera.
Yeah, we've been linked with him in the past.
Oh,
I did not know that.
Actually, yeah.
Oh, okay, now that makes it.
We're linked with so many players, Prime.
I remember Danish bringing him up on Lewis's channel.
Mm.
We've been linked with him. I think it was under Poch we got linked with him.
I'll probably find something while you're talking about it.
But yeah, 13 million. They need to break the bank for him. He's 13. Nope. He's funnily enough the same price you wanted to fucking pay for Maignan. Funnily enough.
Wait, he was 13 mil this summer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check.
Fucking hate these guys, man. And how old is he? I'm assuming he fits within the age.
He's 21. 13 million pounds.
Prime, check this out. Hold on. I'm going to put it on the screen.
13 million pounds.
The math is mathing. Look at this. From
there we go.
PYS. Chelsea have a lengthy centre-back list and scouts are preparing to recommend Christian Mosquera to the hierarchy. No, this is a disconnect between the scouts and analysts recommend and what is often executed by senior leadership. May 18th, 2025, before we even went to Club World Cup.
Oh, this year?
So there were links.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
All right, cool.
I didn't realize that was this year, but there you go.
Yeah. So it's like
13 million. So this is where, by the way, this is where I don't want to hear who would you have bought? Oh, you want us to spend big money. Could have bought him for 13 million. You could have signed Hincapié on loan. You could have signed Grealish. I know it doesn't fit the age profile. Could have signed Grealish on loan. You want to talk about squad building? Maybe don't sign 2 wingers when you've got a third winger you've just signed, who's 18, who's going to be coming in next season. So you have 5 wingers, 3 of which are 21 or under and on long contracts, and the other one you spent 55 million on.
You know what? And this
Maybe
goes back to
a guy like Grealish on loan, who can perform in this league, can perform in this team, has played with Palmer, limited, I know, but there's that. Personality-wise, fits like in terms of with the rest of the squad, can perform, can help, brings you the experience, doesn't tie you into anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, it's fine.
But the thing is, like, I'll even put this as an example. Randall Colomuani, right? We knew we were in a situation where we needed a striker in January last season. We could have gotten him on loan. We opted not to pull that trigger. The option was there this summer. Not that I really wanted him. If you wanted a striker, but Jackson was on his way out, you could have maybe done something there. Like, it doesn't need to be the best of the best. At the end of the day, if this ownership had pulled the trigger and gotten Mosquera, I'm pretty sure most of us would have criticized it and said, look at this, another unknown player. I'm sick and tired. Like, you have Hincapié out there, you have Baston. Like, everyone would have thrown their toys at the ownership. At the end of the day, if the player comes in, plays well, and proves us all wrong, we're all happy and we'll all shut the fuck up and then retract our statements. Right? At the end of the day, that's all that matters. Like, if the recruitment know that there's a player there, they'll do whatever the fuck they want, despite what the fans think, and get the player, and the player would then prove us wrong. That's fine. There's no reason why you don't need to pull the trigger on something like this.
You know what it was with the Mosquera thing? I might have been annoyed in a sense of it might not have been the guy I wanted, right? But it would have been an effort. Like, I'd have gone, okay, you're trying to address the centre-back issue. I don't know how good this guy is. I don't even know if I thought he was going to be as good as he's been since Arsenal come in. Some of that might be also because he's playing next to Gabriel and he's coming into a much better defensive structure than he would be at Chelsea. But they're at least attempting to address the issue. You know
what it's like, Scott?
The issue.
It's kind of like how last season when Renato Vega came into the team, we were like, oh, cool. I don't know who this guy is, but there's someone there that can rotate minutes with Cucurella. Even though that didn't happen, but we all know that he was a good enough player that he could have. But Maresca kind of fumbled the bag with the
and also because this was in May, so it would have been Mosquera partner in Colwell. Yeah. That's a good partnership. Both young, but considering their skill sets, I would have been cool with that. And it also would have meant that one of Chalobah or Tosin would have gone. So whether or not Mosquera is actually that good, at least you're showing that you know what the problem is at centre back. You're getting rid of and you're bringing someone else in.
This is the biggest criticism that I think most of the fans have with the ownership. Not this bullshit that we're seeing on a screen that, the fans want us to get the biggest Galacticos. No, 10% of the fans are saying that. And 10% of those fans are idiots anyways. Most of the fans are telling you, get good quality talent if you're going to get talent. This is just definitely. It's just so daft to hear.
Because I wanted the Galactico and Osimhen. But you know what you did? You got two good young strikers in Pedro and Delap. So that's cool. So I don't mind not getting Osimhen because I understand why we have Delap and João Pedro. I don't understand why we don't have a centre back.
Yeah, it's
especially with the Colwell injury. Before Colwell, I would understand if the thing was, well, we're developing Achimpong, if that's the bullshit you wanted to say. But once Colwell got injured, we needed one.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been anybody. We needed a center back to come in.
I hear shit like this, and if it's true, it just makes me think more and more like these sporting directors are so freaking out of touch.
Oh, they're terrible. They're fucking awful, man. This is why I want them gone, man.
Yeah,
they fucking suck. Like, and they're the biggest issue. And this is why, by the way, like I understand people get annoyed at the owners, and don't worry, the owners. Well, when I say the owners, I mean Clearly more than anything. But like, they take a lot of blame. They've done some things wrong. You can still have the model we've got now and buy better players. Mosquera is 21 and he's better than the centre backs we currently have. He would have been a better option. Who else have we got that you could? I think what's his face? Fofana would have been a better player. Malik Fofana would have been a better player, and he would have been cheaper than the two guys we've currently got.
Yeah.
Who else could you have signed that was in that kind of mold? Those are kind of it.
Those are really the key positions, really.
But those are the key positions, right? But like, there are probably others, you know. Like, for example, I mentioned earlier, Pacho was
how long has he been at PSG? 2 years, 3 years?
2 years, yeah. 3 years, yeah.
2 years. He was 22 when they bought him.
Mhm.
He'd come off 1 year, I think, or 2 years at Frankfurt. So, like, you can still buy players 23 or under and buy players of quality. You don't have to buy the Garnachos of the world, or you don't have to buy the Badiashiels of the world. You know? It's not fucking difficult, man.
See, like, Hato is a good one, right? Because,
Hato's
not many people knew about Hato.
But I think most people did in terms of because we've been linked with him before and also Arsenal linked with him. But Hato's a great example in terms of, like, you didn't have to spend a lot of money on him. You didn't have to spend a lot of money on him.
Too, yeah.
Ekitike, I was wrong about him, by the way. Like, I didn't know how
a lot of us were.
Because of the way he played in Frankfurt, and also
the price tag too. Let's be honest, it was a really steep price tag.
But I think it was more deficiencies about his game that he's actually managed to show hasn't really affected him. But that would have been another one. Ekitike of like should have probably signed him and Delap and Pedro, because then he could have taken him and Delap as striker options is fantastic. That's great.
And even with Ekitike, you have that left wing option too. You can play that.
Yeah, but I don't really want to play left wing in this system.
It's just an option, you know.
But like, that would have been amazing. But
their plan was to get Xavi Simons or Fermin Lopez in the 10.
No, they never wanted that. They never.
No, I know. But that was like what it looked like they were doing, which fine. But my problem is, why are you trying to fix our depth when we don't have an 11?
By the way, the Fermin Lopez thing will forever be hilarious to me. More like mostly because all we kept hearing from, the people that want to defend these sporting directors is, and the owners is, they have to sell to buy. The reason we can't buy this player is because we can't register them and this, that, and the other, and we've got to comply with UEFA and all that nonsense. What would have happened if Barca had said okay to the 40 million? What happens if we'd have signed Fermin Lopez for 40 million? Would he even not have been registered then? Would we have spent 40 million on a guy to not register him in the Champions League? Because when Anote only got registered because Asugo got injured. So, like, would we have just...
Asugo wouldn't have been registered.
No, Asugo would have been registered. Asugo got registered, and then we changed it because he got injured. We took him out.
No, but if we had Fermin Lopez...
Oh, you mean if we had Fermin Lopez, he wouldn't have got registered? I mean, fairs, but like, okay, second question is, how would we have been able to comply with UEFA then? Because wouldn't that have put us under if we had to sell to buy? Because we didn't sell no one to buy Fermin, or we wouldn't have sold anyone to buy Fermin because George's transfer, even if it went through, would have been for like 22 million.
I think it would have been fine because we still had a bit of like, I think we had like a 40. Actually, no, because it would have been on top of that, and it wouldn't have been 40 mil for Fermin Lopez. It would have been more.
No, but I'm saying if they accepted the 40, they were never going to. But I'm saying if they accepted the 40, there's no way financially it would have worked. I
don't think it would have either.
But it wouldn't have worked in terms of this idea that we couldn't have bought these other players because we had to sell to buy. No, it's a bunch of bullshit. Like, we had the money to go and do. We had the money to buy a centre back. We had the ability to go and do more than we did. We chose not to. Like, you chose to buy Garnacho instead of going and getting someone better. You chose to, go and spend money here instead of spending it elsewhere. You chose to do that. You weren't handicapped. You chose to do it. And if you were handicapped, you were handicapped because you spent on shit players. Where is Datro Fofana? What's he doing nowadays? Why can't you sell him? Why couldn't you make profit on Caicedo? Why couldn't you make profit on KDH? Why couldn't you? Who else have we? Why couldn't you sell? Actually, George isn't their fault. I'll give them that. Who else have we tried to sell? How come you couldn't sell Jackson?
And that's where, like, again, going back to that point I made, like, even Fermin Lopez, who it's not Pedri, it's not Gabi, those are the big names,
Washington,
right?
Another one.
Even Fermin Lopez, I would have been like, okay, I'm not sure entirely. I've not seen much of Fermin Lopez play. I'm not sure entirely where he stands in terms of the Barca hierarchy with Gabi and Pedri probably in the forefront of that. It's still a good talent acquisition.
Kellyman. I don't even think he starts for Cardiff. I don't even think he starts for Cardiff, by the way, in League One.
Also, all our problems with centre back. Why didn't we try and get one of Barca's centre backs? They have a lot of them.
I think there is rumors that we're going for one, but depending on the contract situation.
On the Fermin Lopez thing again, by the way, say we had got him, where would he have played? And who would have not have played for him to play? Because it looks as though that Santos is playing in the Enzo position. So surely Fermin, with the way he plays football, I mean, I didn't watch the game today. Based on what I heard, he was very good today. But surely he'd have played the Enzo role. So where would Santos have played?
Yeah, no.
And then if Santos was going to play in the Caicedo role, where would Vasugo play? Where are these players playing? Again, squad building. Where the fuck are you playing all these players? How do they fit? Where and why and how? And who and what?
Yeah.
Where does they fit?
I don't know.
How does the puzzle? How's the puzzle puzzling?
How's the puzzle puzzling?
How the fuck does it all work together, bro?
I don't know. But again, sometimes we do these conversations, and I'm kind of thankful that like we're not doing anything in January because we don't have to think of another headache of like how the fuck are these players gonna fit into this model and this team.
Hey, Scott, you're asking too many questions. Look at these 4 16-year-olds you just signed. Who are the next Neymar? Hey, look, we've signed Quinterios. What's
by the way, was it
Sanchez?
Arsenal. I need to check something. If bro, this might my head might go to Pluto. Please tell me he was on their bench today. Oh, thank Christ, he came on, bro. If Hincapié, if he hadn't even been on the bench today, I'd have blown a gasket, man.
Bro, I am so confused by that loan. By the way, that loan from Arsenal, I'm so confused. No, I am because why are you on the bench? You're too good for that. Why?
I'm saying. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
but I understand. No, but I understand him wanting to leave because, bro, it was under Eric Ten Hag. They were cheeks. Like, I
know why he wants to leave, but you could go anywhere. Why are you on the bench at Arsenal?
He's technically a left back too, right?
He came on a left back.
Yeah, he can play left back. He can play
left back. You're struggling in that. Yeah, you got Calafiori and you got Mile Lewis Skelly ahead of you. I don't know why you chose Arsenal.
Marshall, he's gone there to be a third choice left back. Like, fair play to him.
That's a weird one. That's a weird one.
But the thing is like, I don't think he cares because he's potentially going to win a trophy this season. But also he's playing for a better team. He's playing in the Premier League. My thing is just like, how did no other team? How are Arsenal signing a third choice left back? How are they signing a guy that doesn't even make their bench all the time?
No.
No one else looked at him.
Arsenal have signed a first choice centre back to be their third choice left back.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But like, how did bro? And he was available for a loan with an option. How you tell? No one else bought him. No one else went. That sounds like a fantastic deal. Why don't we have a piece of that? No one else did. Like, what?
Were we even strongly linked to Hincapié, or was that just like rumored link?
No, not really. I think most of it came from the fact he was Ecuadorian. He had until recently the same agent as Caicedo. Like I think most of the links from Hincapié came from fans more than the actual club. But yeah, like it's just that's jokes. I don't.
Looking at the Arsenal squad right now. Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié, Mosquera, Maya Lewis Skelly, Calafiori, Urian Timber, Ben White is still on this team, people. Is Tomoyasu still on this team? No, I think he's finally gone, actually.
Bro, I'm fucking hell. I'm just looking at the Kellyman thing, by the way. He started 2 games so far this season.
Tomiyasu's a free agent right now.
It's like 2 out of 8 games, bro. We spent 19 million. We spent. I'm gonna not shout because I've got family in the fucking house. Because we spent 19 million on this.
They sold Kivior.
The player, bro.
Never mind.
We spent 19 million on this kid, and I know I bang on about him and others a lot, and I feel bad for him because I'm not getting at him. I'm getting at this. We have wasted so much fucking money, and then you have bellends in our fan base want to go, oh, but we have to sell to buy. That's why they're not.
Yeah, that's why it bothers me. You normally like a club spending money doesn't bother me because it's like, yeah, there's other clubs that don't spend money, but the fact that right now you keep PRing us with this whole, oh, well, UEFA restrictions and all this and that. Well, okay, now I care where you spend money because our money's very limited, and if you spend it in the wrong places, this season can go into complete disaster. So that's where like I start now. Now I'm pocket watching. Now I'm keeping the budget tight. You know what I'm saying? Speaking of keeping the budget tight, let's. I do want to try to finish the show in less than 3 hours, and we have a few more topics to talk on. I kind of wanted to bring up Guiu today because there's been a lot of talk about Guiu, and I kind of wanted to have just a little roundabout discussion on Guiu and what we think of him so far this season. But let's look at some of the tweets that have been popping up in regards to Guiu. So this is before. I think it before he made his appearance for Liverpool. So this is kind of pre-international break stuff. So Mark Guiu has been told he will be under consideration for Spain's World Cup squad next summer if he plays enough. So he needed the game time to earn his place. Hence the following. On the eve of the Liverpool match, Mark Guiu approached Enzo Maresca after training to discuss his limited playing time and to seek feedback on how he can improve to earn more opportunities. Sources described the conversation as professional and respectful rather than heated, according to Simon Johnson. The Athletic also reports that Chelsea head coach Enzo Maresca reassured Mark Guiu that if he kept working hard in training, his opportunities would come. Against Liverpool and Forest, Guiu helped Chelsea turn potential drop points into a much-needed victory. Guiu is making a more positive impression on Maresca. They continue on to say that in the second half, Chelsea had a natural frontman in Mark Guiu ahead of João Pedro to worry Nottingham Forest's backline as well. Guiu ended up having 3 efforts on goal. He did not give the hosts a moment of peace. Maresca on starting Mark Guiu as well. Mark was good against Forest. He was also good against Liverpool, but we trust Mark. We have said that many times, and for sure from now on is going to play many games for us. Simon Johnson saying again, after holding positive thoughts with Enzo Maresca, Guiu is beginning to show he can be a useful option for Chelsea up front. A start against Ajax in a Champions League is now a real possibility, which he ended up starting in. I think he had a decent game. And obviously, yesterday's game, not so decent, but then again, half of the team was pretty shit yesterday. So this player goes from... looks like he's just going to get sold in January to now. He's starting to get some minutes. He's starting to get some play time. And he's a young player. But it's nice to have like a striker that's doing striker things up front. I guess with this topic, I forgot to mention as well, Maresca saying that Guiu apparently wasn't impressing much in training. So he needed to see some improvement from him in training. And Guiu has shown it. But... I guess in regards to this topic, it was more so, how do we feel about this player's potential? Like, based on what we've seen last season, how he's grown, because I would like to believe that I've seen improvements from last season, what we saw in limited time. I think so far what we're seeing this season is better hold-up play, maybe not as wasteful with opportunities, maybe less mindless pressing. He's still a ferocious presser, but I feel like last year was much more of that Conor Gallagher Rottweiler where I'm just going to press for the sake of pressing, but I have enough of an engine to do that. Whereas Guiu is like, I'm going to press when it's worth pressing just to not risk injury and so on and so forth. Just being more careful as to when he's pressed. So he's being more decisive. So I've seen improvements, and I do think that the player can grow to be a really good player. I'm still on the fence on whether he's going to be here for the long run or for the short term. But I guess I kind of wanted to branch that out, food for thought for the panel, really. Where do we see Guiu's future? Do you think that there's something for him here at Chelsea, or have you just not been really impressed with what you've seen and it's just potentially going to be another flip for profit down the line?
It's definitely going to be another flip for profit. That's nothing against him as a player. Excuse me. Yeah, that's just how it's going to be with him. Yeah, like he wasn't good the other night. That wasn't entirely his fault. Like, he's a young player. He's 19. Obviously, some things are going to he has to like come with time, or whatever. By the way, just on a side note, that there's not a chance in hell he's been told he's got a shot of playing in the World Cup next summer. If that is true, Spain are fucked. You're telling me they've got no one else up? There's not a chance in hell he's been told he's got a chance playing in the World Cup.
I mean, he might, considering who's their striker? Like Morata? Outside of Morata, who else is left? Yeah, Morata's on his way in a decline. You think Morata? Yeah, I could see it. There's not really much.
Who did they take?
It's slim pickings.
They took Borja Iglesias. They got Samu, bro.
Oh, wait, I thought... Oh, yeah. Well, how's Samu been doing lately anyways?
They got this dude. He's a right winger. Never mind. But yeah, so they got...
He was Portuguese for some reason.
No, he's playing for a Portuguese team. So they got Borja Iglesias, who's kind of old. He's only made 4 appearances for the national team. They got Samu. In terms of guys they didn't take, they've got Morata, who's their captain. They've got Ferran Torres, who they play up front quite a lot. They've also got Iosi Perez, who's better than Guiu right now. Like, there is not a chance he goes. If he goes to the World Cup, something has gone horribly wrong for Spain.
Mm-hmm. Olmo, I don't think Olmo plays as a striker though.
He doesn't play as a striker. He doesn't even play as a does he play as a winger?
He's more as a
I think he plays on the wing for Spain. Actually, no, I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the team they played.
I mean, I think he has a shot at making the bench as a reserve option, just because of his pressing ability. Like, that's something he had. Like, it could be a tool. Who's the Spain manager right now?
Delap, I think is his name.
That'd be such a shame. They'll play Moreno before they play him. They might. But I think to have a tool at your disposal of a player that can press you up high, if that's needed for a game, I think Guiu can be useful in that situation at this current moment. Down the line, he could be the starting striker for Spain if Ferran Torres doesn't,
I doubt that. I don't think he's got any chance of making it like anytime soon. Because the other thing is like they've got Oyarzabal, I think, plays up there sometimes. He doesn't play, or he hasn't. I don't think he's played that much this season. But you've got that Garcia kid who's at Real Madrid. He's better than Guiu right now. This is never happening. I just needed to put that out there. But yeah, just into like, I don't know where Guiu's going to go after this. Like maybe back to Spain. He's got no future at Chelsea, and that's not necessarily, like I said, his fault. It's just because it's just the way this club is run at the moment.
We got him for £5, I think. 5 million.
Yeah, 5 million.
Yeah, I gotta emphasize a million, not £5. Prime, what do you think in terms of Guiu's future? Is it at Chelsea? Will he be leaving? Will he be flip for profit? What are your thoughts?
Prime still here?
You there, Prime? Nope. Okay. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I think with Omega coming in, I think the writing is kind of on the wall for Guiu. I think this is a season where we're going to see where he's at. And that's not to say he can't turn it around. I just think it's unlikely. You got Delap right around the corner. Once Delap comes in and plays a few minutes for Wolves off the bench in the Cup, we're going to see his minutes go up and Guiu's minutes go down. I still think he'll make cameo appearances, substitution appearances, obviously. But the minutes are going to drastically be reduced, and I don't think Guiu's ever going to hit the heights that he could potentially hit here at Chelsea. I think he'll want to move himself, and I think Chelsea would be more than glad to sell him for 20 mil and make a profit. He could even sell him for more because I think there's a decent player there, 30, 35 mil for the player. That's a good profit, in my opinion. And
Sorry, it seems 30 mil?
I was just about to say, it seems like there's been this formula now where Blueco are almost guaranteeing themselves that they'll earn profit on players, even if they don't perform well, as long as they get minutes. I think as long as the players gets minutes, they'll be able to flip for equal or profit, or at least a small deficit. It seems like that's kind of what they've been going for, and that's how they've been getting prices.
We'll make profit on him. The 30 mil thing was like, I think we get 20 mil probably for him max. I don't know who's buying him for 30.
I mean, we said the same thing about Villarreal or Vega, I would say. That's why I feel like...
No, Vega played more minutes, was playing like... Vega was different. Vega was a better player respective to their positions. He was all regularly for Basel before we bought him. He was also playing regularly at Juventus on loan and was a pretty decent defender. Like,
yeah, this is true, Jordan.
This is... Mark Hugh is not playing. So, like...
We'll see.
Yeah.
I hope that he proves us wrong to an extent. I want to say hope. Like, I want him to have a good season at Chelsea. I want him to, impress and show levels, but we'll see. It's depending on the game time. And he's also really young. I just think for the price that we got him at, it's screaming flip for profit because we're easily going to get profit. He's shown he's better than a good amount of strikers in the game right now that aren't starting strikers. Like, I think I could make the argument that I could see Guiu'S starting at this current moment. I can see Guiu'S starting for Spurs. To be totally frank, Solanke's not there right now. I say at this moment.
Solanke doesn't start for them.
Solanke has been unfit, and now their strikers
fit.
Tell.
No, he's been fit. He doesn't start.
Wait, I thought he was not. I thought he was injured.
No, he's on the bench. Like, even when he was fit, he wasn't starting.
Then I take that back.
Their starter is Richarlison, who's actually been decent this season.
Then in that case, I take it back. I think Guiu'S, in terms of Premier League sides right now, I think I was going to say Wolves, but no, I think Larson's got that unlocked. I think he starts for...
He might start for Wolves because Strand Larson is that bad.
I thought Strand Larson was pretty good for them.
At all.
I think he does start. You could make an argument he starts for Everton.
Yeah, he probably starts for Everton, but again, that's probably because how bad Beto is and Barry has not really done anything at the moment. And Bro's about to be playing in Baller League, so like 30 fairs, I guess he probably starts ahead of. He probably starts at Thingy, but like
Bournemouth.
I think, like I said, some of this is probably unfair because that's such a limited. Really hard to judge him as a player, and he's had one really good cameo off the bench, and he's had one awful performance.
My point being, Scott, is that like we've seen enough from him that he's good enough to play for these teams that don't have a striker, but it's not good enough, or it's just a striker so poor that someone like Guiu'S, who is inexperienced, has shown more. You know, because I do think the striker market is really shit.
I agree. I think the issue with Guiu'S is like I said, it's not one of his own making. It's like he's just in a position where he's at a team where the sporting directors have the problem of wanting shiny new toys every window. So he was never going to work here because the moment something even remotely better came along, they were going to be all over that. You see with Omega, obviously there's this Patricelli thing. We don't know how that's going to work. They've, depending on how you actually view the team, they've kind of bought two strikers. I think they've only really bought one, but let's say they bought two already. They might be buying a third. Or they are buying a third, I should say. See, I think it's just unfortunate for him.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in his future. I don't think it's going to be at Chelsea. Is there MLS playoffs tonight?
Who's playing, Keyshawn? Because I know Inter Miami played the other night. I don't know who's playing tonight.
Yeah, I might have to watch. Gives me something to do tonight. All right, cool. So yeah, that's on
Is it
Guiu.
Hellas real tonight?
Say one more time.
I said it's Hell is real, which is the Ohio derby. Oh no, it's not. Never mind. That is no. Yeah, no, sorry, that's not tonight. It is they're both games are already on currently.
Oh shit. We gotta wrap this up then.
So one's gone to penalty and one is in the 14th minute. So
okay, cool. All right, let's get on to the next topic. And before we do, guys, as always, just a reminder, smash up the like, hype up the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Next topic, sponsorship. We've made some progress, sort of, kind of. We're hearing rumors now. So first things first, we made a little bit of progress. We have a sleeve sponsor, which is good. I didn't know we didn't have a sleeve sponsor. I thought we did with Live Nation, but I guess that was only for Club World Cup, and we were without a sleeve sponsor this whole time. So there's that. But earlier this week, we got news that Chelsea has named Vietnam-based technology solutions provider FPT, who we heard rumors of last season before the Demac deal went through, as its new sleeve sponsor in a one-season deal that is likely to precede the unveiling of a new main shirt sponsor. FPT Software has today expanded its partnership to become the club's principal partner of the 25-26 season. As a principal partner, FPT Software will be represented on the sleeves of Chelsea FC's men's, women's, and academy kits. Having secured multi-year deals with Liverpool, PSG, and Al Hilal, they currently have no plans to further expansion into football. Vietnamese company FPT Software previously expressed interest in a larger sponsorship package. FPT will be the sleeve sponsor until the end of the current season. Vietnamese company has been in the club's global sponsor since April. From the beginning of the discussion with the club, FPT had ambitions to become top-tier sponsor, even as a front of shirt sponsor. So something that could potentially escalate to a front of shirt sponsorship next season. Who knows? We'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. We continue on that there has been a notable degree of churn in the club's sleeve sponsorship asset, with Live Nation, Fever, who I thought was a sponsor, Bing X, and Whalefin all appearing in a position over the past 3 seasons. The Whalefin one, I think, went under because of the crypto thing, and it was just a weird sponsorship that didn't work out for Whalefin itself. Todd Klein, president of commercial at Chelsea Football Clubs, had this to say: "We started our FPT journey with a bold vision to harness their cutting-edge technology and innovative services to accelerate transformation on and off the pitch. We made huge strides together and are excited for the next chapter, one that will see Chelsea's global platform amplify FPT's unique capabilities, expertise, and spirit from Vietnam to enterprises around the world." Sounds like we're just signing another Infinite Athlete for the sleeve sponsor. Chelsea sleeve sponsorship with Vietnamese technology company FPT, worth 17 to 18 million pounds for the rest of the season, making it one of the best deals in the league. Oh, that's good. We always want to be the best in something. So there's that. We got the best front of sleeve sponsor. That's great. Chelsea are in the closing stages of finding a new front of shirt sponsor. Sources say Chelsea's thorough process to find a front of shirt sponsor is nearing a conclusion. This was 4 days ago from Simon Johnson and The Athletic. So pretty reliable sources, and I really, really hope that the case is so, because Scott can vouch. I think I said I'll be worried about this the most November time. If by November time we don't have one, then I'm going to be at the forefront of like lambasting this. And then continuing on here, The Athletic reporting that breaking: Chelsea are in the closing stages of finding a new front of shirt sponsor. Discussions are very advanced, and the final decision is expected in the near term. Chelsea President and Chief Operating Officer Jason Gannon and President of Commercial Todd Klein are at the forefront and played a key role in negotiations. Negotiations have included the prospect of facing or being a multifaceted partnership, which goes beyond just the company's name displayed on the front of Chelsea's kit. Let me read that again. Negotiations have included the prospect of being a multifaceted partnership, which goes beyond just having the company's name displayed in the front of Chelsea's kit. So they're gonna want this company to not just be front of shirt sponsor, but sponsorship for other types of advertising and other types of commercial stuff revolving Chelsea is kind of what I'm understanding. Could be Riyadh Air. It sounds like it could be Riyadh Air. They're probably capable of doing something like that, promoting their hotels and stuff like that, deals with that. So it's a little bit. It sounds like it's a little more complex than a front of shirt sponsor.
I do think that also links with the Oracle Red Bull thing as well.
Oh yeah, true. I saw that shirt the other day. By the way, I saw someone at the gym that had that shirt, and I was like, you know what? If the Red Bull kit, Oracle logo thing,
Red Bull, like, yeah,
the same one that we showed in the last show. I saw someone with a shirt like that, and I was like, dude, that'd be actually nice if it was a Chelsea kit. You were gonna say something, Scott? Though I interrupted you. My bad.
Oh, you know, I was gonna ask if it was like the Wasamaduda, I can't know what the fuck it's called. The Red Bull
that logo
kit, like the racing shirt.
It wasn't a racing shirt, but it was just a shirt, like a plain T-shirt that had the logo across.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So it was just one of those like, okay, I could see that being on a Chelsea kit and not just a regular shirt, and it would look decent. And that was one that was being discussed. But I mean, this part right here kind of makes it seem, and I'm not trying to excuse it. I'm just trying to say that, okay, it opens up, it reveals why maybe they've taken a little longer than anticipated, because it seems like it's more than just your typical straightforward front of shirt sponsor. They want to make it a deal where it's like, you're not going to only sponsor the front of shirt for years. We want you to sponsor this, and we'll do this commercial, this and that. It's a little bit more complex. It doesn't excuse how long it's taken it, to be honest with you, but it makes it so like, okay, I can see why it's taking you so long now, at least. So there's that, but kind of exciting. We're finally going to get a front of shirt sponsor, and they're saying soon. Again, I hope it's before the end of next month, because we've been waiting for way too long. Maybe it's going to be introduced after international break. So I guess Prime or Scott, whoever wants to attack at this, like, is this like a little bit of a sigh of relief that we're finally getting this done, and maybe this is the last of having to deal with no front of shirt sponsor next season? Right.
Sorry, repeat the question again.
Are we sigh of relief that this is finally happening?
Yeah, 100%. Like, just get the front of shirts once it's sorted, man. I don't care what it is at this point. Just get it sorted. Once it gets sorted, that's like, because it's not something that like I think about all the time, but I think it is something we need to obviously get sorted. And so yeah, I think getting that sorted, that's one less thing you have to like focus on this season. That's one less thing you have to worry about as a club. Obviously, like I said, it's not something that we as fans necessarily may think about 24/7, but it's something that I'd like to be fixed, and then we can like focus on the other stuff, like the on the pitch stuff as well.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Like, most of us don't want to have to worry about this, but I think again we go back to that whole idea of that. We don't want to worry about the money, but when you're telling us, oh yeah, we're worried, we got to watch how much we're spending because of, PSR and FFP and all that. It's like, okay, well now I want to see that you're spending your money wisely and not just recklessly here and there willy-nilly, because we need to abide. First of all, we need to be in Europe, so we can't risk ourselves being banned out of Europe. But also, we have to improve on the team. Like, there's deficiencies in the team still that we have to, improve on. And let's not forget, not all players are going to be good all the time. In the future, we're going to have to replace some of these players that maybe they start to decline after. I wouldn't be surprised if Cucurella, like, maybe next season you start seeing a little bit of a decline. Hopefully it doesn't happen. I'm just saying, like, he's 27. He's on the older side of 20. Maybe he gets a little closer to 30 soon, and we start seeing a decline, and we have to start thinking, okay, we have to replace this player or get a backup for Hatzo and get Cucurella going. Like, just examples of, I mean, if Ahmed was hearing this right now, he'd be perked up. But, yeah, let's just, like, you got to plan for things that could happen, that we have to change the strategy. We have to reevaluate this position, that position. So it's like we need to be smart and wise with what we're spending on. so that we don't violate the FFP rules and all that bullshit. All right, cool. So with that being said, looking forward to what the front of shirt sponsor is going to be. We have a sleeve sponsor now. And with that front of shirt sponsor, hopefully we get a good deal with the remaining games of the season. And hopefully we get a multi-year deal so we don't have to worry about this next season. And that gives us more revenue to kind of contest against the FFP stuff. Okay, cool. Yeah, I know that was a bad example. I realized I said that after I did it. Okay, cool. Going on to the final two topics, ladies and gents, let's talk about some injuries and injury scares. And we'll start off with the fact that Liam Delap is now back in training, ladies and gents. So starting off with, I'll start off with Reese actually in terms of the injury stuff. And remember what I said earlier in the video when we were talking about Santos? I mentioned the influence that Thiago Silva has on someone like André Santos and a lot of Brazilians in terms of post fitness and all that stuff and checking yourself after the pitch. I think Reece James is in that same category, and I think he learned from the best. Reece James, many people behind the scenes are helping me. They know who they are. I have someone at the club that I work closely with as well. He's been a big part of keeping me on the pitch. I think, oh, this is great. Let me guess. John Terry, Thiago Silva. So it's pretty much what I was getting at, right? Like off the pitch. And if you listen to the interviews that Reece James has had, he has mentioned Thiago Silva being a big help to him multiple times. And I think a big part of that is learning how to recover from injuries and staying fit, which is something that Thiago Silva was very adamant about. And I think Reece James picked up on that, learned that, and is implementing it into his game, which I love to see. Because I am really, really surprised that Reece James has played, what, now 8 games in a row? 9 games in a row? Full 90? I have to check that, actually. He's almost getting the double digits full games in a row. Full 90. And he hasn't been, like, out with an injury since the beginning of last season. So he's been fit and he's been staying fit, and it's really impressive. And I think it goes towards the medical team, right? I think a medical team has done a good job of managing his minutes and managing his fitness, but I think it's also like half of the work is the player himself, making sure they're staying on top of their fitness, staying on top of recovery and all that stuff. I think Reece James has implemented that into his game, and I don't know if you guys agree. I don't know if you guys think that's probably what's helping. But before we get into the lap, I mean, what do we think about Reece James's fitness this season and some of the changes he's made? Is it impressive? I think it's impressive.
Yeah, I think it's impressive. Like, I think I'm just glad he's staying fit. You know, like I'm just glad that he can actually play football and like show us what he's, you know, made of. Obviously didn't do that the weekend, but is what it is. But I'm just glad he's playing football. I'm glad he's like playing to the level we know he can play at and everything. I'm really happy for him. Like whatever he's managed to do.
Trevor Chalobah.
Not wrong. I mentioned Chalobah and he showed up. Continue, Scott. Sorry.
You know, I was just like, what's done? If he has something different, keep up.
Hey, Fafana, take notes. Take notes, because this is what you need to do. You need to be able to do this. Stay fit and play 90-minute games more often, like Reece. But yeah, big up. Like I said, I think Thiago Silva was a big influence on him. I'm glad to see it, and I'm glad to see he can now pass that along to other people. Reece can. So I hope he does. I hope he influences the rest of the team to look into just leadership, taking care of yourself, your body, because it's hard for the players to understand this at a young age, but your fitness is your career. This game of football is as short as you make it, right? If you don't take care of yourself, longevity is out the door. There's a reason why Thiago Silva to this day is still playing for Fluminense. He's not retired yet. So if you want to make the most out of this short football career, then make smart investments, make smart decisions on taking care of your body, because that is the vehicle in which you're going to be able to make this happen. Speaking on that, we continue on. Liam Delap. So this is good news, because we were hearing January is when we're going to see him again. Good to know that it was a lot sooner than that. So, breaking. Enzo Maresca says Liam Delap may be able to begin training again in the next days, and he is very close via Kieran Gill. There is pictures of him in training. So, yeah, Enzo Maresca says Liam Delap is very close to returning to training. Liam Delap is not working with us yet. He is still out. Hopefully, in the next days, he can take part in the session with us. Enzo Maresca confirms that Liam Delap trained on Thursday and could be back in action after the Sunderland game. Liam took part of the session with the team yesterday for the first time, but won't be able for Sunderland, maybe for the next one. So we're talking Wolves in the Cup. So Liam Delap should be bailed for that. And in regards to Cole Palmer's injury layoff is viewed as a necessary short-term loss in order to protect him long-term. The Athletic reports that the club regard Palmer as a generational talent they want to get the best out of for the next 10 years, not the next 10 matches. I agree with that. I'm not going to argue that. And then Maresca said here that João Pedro is one of the few players that is not training every day due to dealing with groin issues, mentioning Fernandes and Caicedo as players not training every day as well. So I don't agree with that first comment. I don't think it sounds like excuses, but at the same time, these are very key players that we want them to be at tip-top shape. And it's unfortunate that they're playing as much, because I feel like they're only playing as much as they are. Not because they're key players. They are key players. But I feel like that manager doesn't really have a choice. I think the choices that they did have ended up getting injured. I think Isugo puts a big dent. Isugo and Lavia. I think Isugo and Lavia not being fit puts a big dent in the amount of rotation he could have had by this point.
Isugo is the only one, like Caicedo is the only one of those three you can use that excuse for because of Isugo and Lavia. You've got Santos, you've got Buenanotte, or you've got Estevao can play the 10.
Oh, for Fernandes.
Or whatever.
No, I get you. Yeah, I get that.
Or whatever, right? There are other options. You might not like the other options. That's a different conversation. There are other options. That's why those two specifically, that excuse doesn't run. You've chosen not to use the other options you've got. Like I said, I mentioned Santos. I think I mentioned Santos earlier. Played 7 minutes in the game. Enzo Fernandez completed at 90 minutes. Santos got 7 minutes. So I don't want to hear injuries when you're playing Enzo Fernandez in a game. He wasn't good. Like the whole midfield wasn't good. It wasn't just Enzo, but he wasn't good. You could have taken him off for Santos. You chose to keep him on. So if he's injured, you're not helping him. So that's why the injury excuse does not fly.
Yeah. I think the damning thing with Enzo Fernandez, and not really the damning thing, I think that's a poor choice of words. I think it's the downside of not having Enzo is that this doesn't just go for Chelsea, it just goes for football in general. There aren't many profiles that are passers of the ball like him in football anymore. Like Toni Kroos, retired. Modric can still do it, but he's over at AC Milan. I can't. My brain can't brain. Who is another player that passes like him? It's really not many.
The reason why Enzo plays as much as he should, even through his poor form, is because we have no Colwell and no Palmer. He's the only passer in the team. So
that's kind of what I'm getting at.
Even through the bad form.
Like I agree with Scott. I think you can find a way. Like that doesn't have to be the only reason Enzo plays. And even prior to yesterday, he wasn't even doing that passing ability too much, but he can do the line breaking passes and stuff like that, which I can see why you can really reap the benefits of that in a possession based style. But like you could find a way to play without those passes through Andre Santos. Santos has redeemable qualities that you could take advantage of in a game. And if you're a manager, you're watching him in training, you can think of a way to make the most of that. And to be fair, Lavia has that in his locker too. We just not seen it enough because he's not been fit.
I mean, it's possible Santos could do it. Because at Strasbourg, he was just all-action midfielder. So he could do it, but I don't know.
Like, I feel like for what Enzo has in passing ability, Santos can make up for in, I guess, shooting ability. He can make up for in.
I think the only thing he lacks, the only thing that Santos lacks is that passing ability. Everything else in terms of the ground coverage, shooting wise, he's much better. But like ground coverage, he can do. The like doing
he's even
the
got the leadership ability, to be honest. Like, it's not like he is a leader.
The link up. The only thing he doesn't do is like the passing. Outside of that, with the right game time, he can do everything else. The passing is the only thing. With the right game time, he can do every other thing that Enzo is asked to do. So,
in regards to Delap, how do we feel Delap will impact the team going forward? Do you think it's going to be enough to make a difference and maybe turn some of these draws into wins and some of these losses into draws? Or is the feeling overall that this is just going to be another one of those merry-go-rounds of we're going to think that he's going to come in and be the Nkunku of the team and save the season, but in reality, there's more problems than just Liam Delap?
I have no idea. I know that's not helpful, but like, because the problem is it depends on. He will help, obviously, because he is a better player than Guiu, and like I think him being in the team helped a lot of players like João Pedro, for example, and whatnot. The issue, or not the issue, the thing I am unsure about when it comes to Delap is whether we're going to end up having the same issue with him that we had with Guiu at the weekend, that we've had with João Pedro when he was playing up front, and we had with Jackson last season. It's all well and good having a guy up there who's going to make runs, who's going to be a bully for the centre-backs and this, that, and the other. If we do not find him and are not passing him the ball and our crosses suck, it means nothing. Because he's going to have 10 touches in a game, do absolutely nothing. He's going to get shat on by some fans, even though it's not his fault. Because he's not doing anything, because he's not getting the service.
Some of the fans.
Yeah, and we're gonna be back in this circle of hell again. So, like, we need to wait and see. Like, I hope it's obviously the former. I hope he helps. Like, I want him to do well, and I want him to help the team, obviously. I'm gonna wait and see how it goes. Him being back though is a positive, just because it does give us another option off the bench. He is our de facto starting striker currently, so that's a positive. And I do think he will help us score goals. Ultimately,
I think I don't think he's going to make a difference in the results, to be honest with you. I think if the shoe was on the other foot and Liam Delap was out for the rest of the season and we had Levi Colwell coming back right now, I think that'd be more of a help. Because I think right now our biggest issue is defense. I don't think our biggest issue is scoring goals. Yeah, it would have been nice to score more goals against Sunderland, but we did score a goal. And we saw how Arsenal won today's game, right? Or was it yesterday? It was yesterday. Yesterday's game. 1 goal is all it took. And they were able to finish the game off with a clean sheet. So with our team, like, I feel like, yeah, if we can be more sound defensively, I think we have enough goals in our team to see out a result as long as we stay good defensively. I think Liam Delap is going to help us in the sense of, like, maybe some of these games won't end in draws because we'll have an extra goal in there because of him. I do think even if he does get less touches, he's more inclined to get us in the goal scoring position than not. Unlike Guiu, who maybe doesn't have the experience to do that quite yet. But yeah, I'm happy he's back. I do think he's going to help get us some goals. Is he going to help change results around? That's where I'm not so sure. But I could be proven wrong, because maybe if this team gets ahead of itself, 2 goals ahead or 3 goals ahead, and haven't conceded, maybe they're not as nervous or feel as pressured to get everything perfect defensively, and maybe that helps, calm down the defense a bit, which I think internally, in the long term, does help out with keeping more clean sheets. Any thoughts on some of the returning players or some of the injuries before we move on to the final topic, boys?
Not really.
Okie dokie. So in that case, before we go to the final topic, ladies and gents, you already know. Subscribe, like, and hype up the video. Helps out Casually FC a lot. And as always, be sure to check out the memberships because it helps out keep the lights on as well. Okay, last and final topic is going to be on Moises Caicedo to Madrid, which isn't going to happen. But it's funny to talk about these things while they're going on. So, as you guys remember, there's been a few changes to Moises Caicedo's agency. And so GMS sources can reveal Moises Caicedo has been a subject of interest from heavyweight giants Real Madrid, according to Ben Jacobs. Sources close to Moises Caicedo have told he is not looking to leave Chelsea, even though Real Madrid have been linked with making a move for his signature, while the Stamford Bridge hierarchy will not listen to offers, even if a proposal which would allow them to make a significant profit is submitted. Exclusive. Chelsea have entered discussions to hand 175,000 pounds a week star Moises Caicedo a more lucrative contract. Chelsea would not necessarily add time to Caicedo's deal due to the length of the current agreement. And then, yeah, here we go. Real Madrid, according to Ben Jacobs, has been linked with making a move for his signature, while the Stamford Bridge hierarchy will not listen to offers if a proposal which allow them to make a significant more profit is submitted. So, same thing I said before. I was thinking this. First, I don't think he's going to go to Real Madrid. I think he's going to stay at Chelsea. I think he's just going to see out his contract at Chelsea, and then when it gets close to that time, either add more time or see out the rest of his career at Real Madrid or some other club. But I think he goes down as a Chelsea legend if he keeps up like this. That aside, in terms of Moises Caicedo, what I was thinking was, do I give Moises Caicedo a $300K a week contract? And I'm inclined to say yes, but I would be lying if I didn't say that there is a lingering feeling in the back of my head that if we give him that deal, the complacency will maybe set in and you won't see the best performances anymore. But I don't think Moises is that kind of player either. So where do we stand on that? Like, are we willing to give Moises Caicedo maybe not more than Reece James? I think Reece James is, wages would need to go up, but I do think Moises Caicedo needs to be one of the highest paid in Chelsea, if not the highest paid player in Chelsea, up there with Cole Palmer, maybe more than Cole Palmer, to be honest.
It's something to consider because of how integral he's been to the team and how good of a player he is. Like he's arguably, actually no, fuck it, he's our best player, and probably our most important player currently.
Even with Cole Palmer in the team, right? Because I would agree with you.
Yeah, 100%. So I think, like I said, it's definitely something to consider. Excuse me. Like I said, something to consider. I don't know how it would go down or what would happen with other players, but yeah, like I said, definitely something to consider going forward. And it's conversations going to need to be had with a few of these players, like Palm potentially as well, and whatnot.
It's one of those that I almost want to give him that bump in salary because I want to make sure that from a financial aspect he's content and satisfied with what he's making at Chelsea. I don't want to keep him always at that incentivized amount. I think after a while you kind of just have to come to terms that, okay, we don't have to incentivize this player anymore. I just think we're going to get a incentivized amount of performances from him on a regular basis. So if we could just guarantee him the wages versus having him be on an incentive to earn those wages, I think he'll be pretty content with that. And And like I said, I'd consider giving him 300K a week. I don't think it's going to happen because I think it offsets some of the balance in the team with Reece being the highest paid and he's not earning that amount. But if there's any player I'm going to give 300K a week to, it's going to be either Reece or him. So
yeah,
that's really where I stand on it. Prime, I don't know if you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up on Moises Caicedo's contract situation. I don't even know if Prime's really here. Chalaba. Maybe he'll show up now. Right, no. Yeah, I got a gig watching this game. But yeah, any final thoughts, Scott, on this before we wrap it up, man? Or
no, not really. Like, I hope he signs a good contract. I hope that gets sorted. I think it will.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, not really any other thoughts apart from that.
Yeah, I think Moises is committed to Chelsea anyways. I don't think he's gonna be. I'll be fair. I'll be honest. Like, for the longest time, I was trying not to buy into this idea that Enzo Fernandez is committed to the club because we saw how he was acting at Benfica when initially we failed to sign him, and he kind of tapped the badge and said, "Oh, yeah, I'm here to stay," and then he left. So it was a lot of theatrics for him, but I'm starting to think that Moises and Enzo are pretty committed to Chelsea at this point. I don't know if you agree.
Well, Enzo's always a weird one because I think with him, I wonder what's going to happen when like a quote unquote better offer comes up. We've yet to see it, but I wonder what's going to happen because it's happened previously. There's like literal previous of it happening, history of it happening. Caicedo is one I think he is fully committed. Like I don't think anything's going to change that.
I mean, and then when you look at how it happened too, like he chose us over Liverpool when Liverpool genuinely had an interest. Like, I think he's a Chelsea fan through and through. And maybe you're right, Penquino. Maybe he does leave for Real Madrid, but I think he might even turn it down, to be honest, unless it's super, super lucrative. And I don't think Real Madrid are in a position to do that. But yeah, people, that's the show. Big up to every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing if you're new. And also, there were some new faces in the chat, so big up to you guys as well. Yeah, thanks for joining in on the conversation, and thanks for sticking around. Guys, we'll be back again. I think our game is Wednesday. Yeah, our games are Wednesday. The Carabao Cup match against Wolves. So anything less than a victory is an absolute failure.
Just
and it has to be a victory. Please just win. Just win. All right, because we can't crash out like we did last season. So yeah, hopefully. Ideally, discussing a victory after that match. And then, yeah, we'll see the rest of the I think Thursday we'll have another Casually Chelsea or Chelsea Hour show discussing the season with a guest. So keep an eye out for all that content, people. And yeah, we're going to rate out to, I think I put it to Sarcasm City again, because they're the only one I was on currently. So yeah, copy and paste the raid message. Let Flawless from Sarcasm City know where you're coming from. And if you are a member, you'll know that our proper casual and higher tier members get shout outs at the end of every show. And those shout outs are going to go to, I can't read this. Stoff 5050, STFC Benny, Johnny Bravo, Pels, EPL Turf, JC Dark, Lanray Sadiq, A Soliman, EE, and Adrian. Thank you so much for the support you guys show at that level, and thank you for the support of everyone else who also join on the memberships. There are new emojis there for you guys to use, and there will be more emojis and updates to the stream in the coming days. So be sure to check out all that stuff and reap out the benefits of memberships, because they do have a few perks that I'm going to be adding over the course of time. So big up to every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in. As always, have a wonderful night. Stay casual. Peace.